Good evening, dear listener. Today we will venture into the deep, dark forests where a secret hut on chicken legs is located, hiding ancient secrets and who rules over all this. Tell me what city you're listening from and what time it is there. Close your eyes and imagine the veil of time thinning before you. With each inhalation, we step deeper into the old world, where forests are endless and myths breathe with the same pulse as the living earth. And there, at the very heart of this wilderness, waits a hut that turns upon chicken legs, a hut that holds within it secrets older than memory. There dwells Baba Yaga, the strange and terrible grandmother of Slavic tales, keeper of riddles, devourer, guardian, and sometimes giver of wisdom. It is her story we enter now, and the secrets of her dark lair we shall seek to unveil. The forest that holds her hut is no ordinary forest, but a realm apart, a place where day never fully wins over dusk and night never wholly conquers the dim light. Its trees are immense, their roots clutching the soil like talons, their crowns tangled in shadows, mist coils between trunks like a living breath, and the ground is scattered with bones, bones of beasts, bones of birds, and bones of those who wandered too far without knowing whom they sought. The air here smells of resin and ash, of damp earth and a faint metallic tang, as if the forest itself remembers blood. Yet in this foreboding hush, there is also a deeper lure, for beyond fear lies the promise of forbidden knowledge. At the forest's centre stands the hut. It does not sit upon stones or timbers, but rises upon two enormous chicken legs, knotted with sinew and feather, scratching the ground restlessly as though impatient with its own confinement. Sometimes the hut spins, turning slowly in circles, creaking like a millstone grinding grain. Sometimes it stands utterly still, like a beast poised to strike. Its walls are patched with crooked boards, and its windows glow faintly from within, casting amber light that flickers like watchful eyes. Around it stretches a fence, but not of wood. Its posts are human bones, bleached white, and upon each post sits a skull, some hollow, some with fire smouldering in their sockets. This is no home for the innocent. This is the dwelling of Baba Yaga, the dread witch, who is at once terror and oracle, curse and blessing, death and rebirth. But who is she? This figure whose name trembles on the tongues of peasants and poets alike. Is she demon or goddess forgotten by time, or something that belongs to neither world nor underworld, but to the twilight between? Her story is not one tale, but a weaving of many, a tapestry of contradictions stitched by centuries of fear and reverence. She is said to ride not a horse but a mortar, guiding it with a pestle, sweeping away her tracks with a broom made of birch twigs. She flies between trees like a dark wind, hair streaming, eyes glinting with ancient fire. To some she appears as a hideous crone, her nose long as a beak, her teeth sharp as knives. To others she is vast and terrible, her body filling the hut so that limbs spill from windows and door. Yet she never bursts apart, and in some whisperings she shifts her form, veiled in beauty or terror as suits her design. The peasants tell children not to stray from the village path, lest Baba Yaga snatch them up, boil them in her iron cauldron, and feast upon their bones. And yet, in other tales, the brave who face her with respect may leave her hut not destroyed but transformed, granted a gift, a piece of wisdom, a magical token that guides them to their destiny. She devours, and she delivers. She is the gatekeeper, the test one must endure before claiming the deeper treasure of life. In this paradox lies her power. For Baba Yaga is more than a villain. She is a threshold. The hut itself is a riddle. Those who dare to seek it must know the secret words. Hut, hut, turn your back to the forest and your face to me. Only then does the door appear, creaking open with the smell of smoke and herbs, of old skins drying, of unguents simmering in cauldrons. Inside, the hearth glows red, and there sits Baba Yaga, her iron teeth gleaming, her gaze sharp enough to pierce the soul. But always, beneath the terror, is the chance of revelation, for what she conceals is as vital as what she consumes. The forest holds its breath tonight, for we stand at the edge of her realm, our steps sinking into moss thick as velvet, our ears catching the faint cackle of unseen laughter drifting from within the trees. The hut shifts in the distance, its legs scraping the soil, restless. The skulls upon the fence flicker with sudden light, their sockets glowing as if aware of our approach. And so begins the long telling of Baba Yaga, of the shadows she commands, and of the secrets her dark lair has guarded since the first fire was lit by human hands. The forest listens with us, skulls on the fence glowing like small moons with their own tide. The The hut lifts one clawed foot, then the other, a patient dance learned from storms. We do not call yet. We let the hush thicken. The first secrets of her lair live outside it, braided into roots and wind, and the stories the dark tells itself. They say Baba Yaga was born when frost loved smoke. In the earliest winters, when sparks leapt like red seeds, cold felt its rule waning and reached for warmth. From their embrace came a woman with cindery hair and eyes thawing like rivers. She did not cry. She laughed a low iron laugh, and rhyme slicked the stones. She camped on the seam between waking and dream, feeding her fire with treaties and refusals. Another telling says she is the face the earth wears when people forget to bow. Temples sank into bogs, hymns frayed into reed sounds, and the goddess traded her diadem for a birch broom. She devours what is careless, composts it, and returns it as fertile fear. Star metal sharpened her teeth. A riverbed that remembers glaciers lent its stones for mortar and pestle. When she flies, the pestle beats time. When she lands, silence grows rings of years. No carpenter made the hut. In a drought so long, frogs told parables about rain. Lightning struck a larch on the border of all borders. The stump remembered its crown and tried to stand. Wind braided tendons, feathers sprouted. Legs like tremendous hens learned to kneel and pivot between minutes. The hut grazes time, pecking at seconds like millet from a torn sack. Its windows are eyes that refuse to blink. The fence is not only warning, it is a choir. The skulls sing in the key of endings that become thresholds. Some burn steady, some wait dark like seeds under frost. They remember oaths broken, and they remember kindness. A few belong to travellers who returned as promised. Those flames are earned crowns. If the wind is kind, one hears the fence's prayer. Not do not enter, but enter exact. Bring respect. Omen answers omen. From the birches a white horse passes without sound, the rider pale as dawn, light pooling like milk in a bowl. At noon, a noon already evening, a red rider follows, coppery and stern. Later comes the black rider, not cruel but complete, night saddled and bridled, moving with an answered riddle. They circle the hut as if they were hours keeping watch over a heart. Baba Yaga feels their passing and adjusts the house. Timbers cluck, the stove exhales, herbs rustle like pages. Somewhere a pestle taps a rim in a rhythm that scours the day from its clothes. We sense her considering us like thunder behind a hill. What shape will she wear? Cinder-breathed crone, antlered matron, thin-eyed girl. She chooses by our truth. We wait because ritual begins with patience. A cat appears on the stoop and blinks at us, lazy and judicial. Its whiskers are long as proverbs. When it stretches, we hear frost thawing. When it settles, bread cooling. The skulls make room in their song for the purr, and in that space rises an older memory. The hut once wandered without a keeper, until a woman with smoke in her hair climbed inside and taught it to heed the riders. The air tilts from resin into hearth-sweet, apple peel, mead, feathers that might have fallen from a dream. The ground warms the way a hand warms when it remembers how to accept. We sense the threshold moving through us. We crossed an invisible gate by listening. The cat yawns and becomes shadow, then rug, then cat again. In all three shapes it judges gently. Outside the riders fade yet remain. At last we speak the words softly but entire. Turn your back to the forest and your face to me. The hut pivots like a heron. Stairs unfurl like a tongue-tasting rain. A door appears, its latch a finger bone polished by respectful hands. We touch it and feel nettles in spring and ovens in winter, harm and help braided. The knocker is a tiny hoof. We lift it once and sound goes out like a pebble across night water. Within, space opens wider than its size. A stove crouches like a red animal and dreams into ash. Herbs dangle and murmur though the air is still. Their names are borders, wormwood, mugwort, lovage, treaties between plant and person. Chains descend, kin to gravity, holding jars where orange sparks sleep, and a shoe whose owner walks the other way through time. The table waits with milk steaming and bread black as famine. Under the rafters something clicks with the certainty of beetle wings, an arithmetic of fate. We do not know the sum, only that it is being tallied in cinnamon smoke and shadow, bead by bead upon an unseen chord. No one sits, yet the house is full of attention. It has textures, a board smoothed by knuckles, a child's drowse along a cradle painted with swans, the hush of a widow who fed a beggar. We feel watched but not hunted. We are being measured, the way water measures a vessel simply by touching every side. From the stove a voice like banked coals settles in the room, the pestil's tapping slows. We remain near the door, hand visible, pride folded like a knife. The cat curls and becomes the braided rug, the skulls outside dim to lantern patience. We breathe the house so it may taste us in return. Somewhere beneath the floor water laughs, the way it does when a thaw is promised but not here yet. Soon footsteps will approach, and the first test will take its true form. For now the hut listens and decides how much of its secret to show. The hush stretches, thick as honey poured slowly from a wooden spoon. The house waits with its door pressed shut against the outer dark, though we stand within, and silence has taken on the weight of wood and smoke. Then, almost imperceptibly, a sound rises from deep inside, the drag of a step, slow, deliberate, each beat of foot upon plank like the pulse of the hut itself. The air changes as if a storm were turning its face toward us. From the hearth's glow she comes, first as shadow cast long and thin, then as body, bending, widening, narrowing again, never still. Baba Yaga appears not in haste but in certainty. She leans upon her pestle as though it were a staff, the mortar following behind her like a hound. Her nose stretches before her, keen as a hawk's beak, and her iron teeth catch the firelight with cruel gleam. Yet her eyes, though ringed by years as countless as tree rings in an ancient oak, hold a clarity sharper than ice. They see not the body but the marrow, not the hand but the promise clenched within it. Her gaze rests upon us, and though she does not speak, our heart quickens, for already we feel measured. The hut itself groans, boards creaking in recognition. A rope swings lazily from the rafters, hung with small charms, dried berries, knuckle bones polished smooth, a child's lost mitten, a lock of golden hair tied with faded ribbon. These are offerings from those who came before, some given freely, others taken. They whisper their stories in rustles and faint crackles, telling us that no one leaves this place unchanged. She circles the table once, the mortar scraping faintly along the floor, leaving behind a shallow groove as if marking the boundary of trial. The pestle she taps upon the boards in rhythm, and with each strike the jars hanging from chains tremble, their contents glowing briefly as though answering a call. In one, the spark leaps like a caged star. In another, darkness itself sloshes, thick and unbroken. Baba Yaga pauses to listen to their hum, nodding slightly as if they confirm what she already knows of us. Then she bends toward the stove, and her voice finally emerges, low, cracked like burning logs, yet carrying an authority that brooks no refusal. She asks no questions. Instead, she names truths we have not spoken aloud. She names the fear of the forest, the hunger for hidden knowledge, the weight of choices not yet made. Her words settle in the air like falling ash, soft yet indelible. The cat by the hearth twitches its ears, as if each syllable were a bell rung in invisible towers. We stand still, because movement would feel like betrayal in such a moment. To answer is not with tongue, but with stillness, with the openness of listening. And Baba Yaga, though stern, recognizes this. She narrows her eyes, then huffs a sound that might be approval, or might be the forest testing the strength of our bones. She draws closer, and the air around her smells of birch smoke, of damp moss, of blood rusting on iron. In her presence, opposites collide, life and death, terror and protection, decay and the seed of rebirth. Behind her, the fence of skulls flickers brighter as though her nearness fuels their flame. Their hollow sockets glow like watchmen. Some turn subtly, craning to peer through the window panes, eager for the unfolding. The riders, pale red and black, circle unseen beyond the trees, their presence woven into the rhythm of the night. They are her servants, her hours, her boundaries, and we feel them pressing near. She lifts her hand, crooked fingers curling like roots, and points toward the cauldron that bubbles upon the stove. The liquid within is dark, almost oily, but it sighs and murmurs as though alive. She gestures for us to look, not to taste. When we lean close, visions ripple across the surface. We see roads winding endlessly through tangled forests. We see faces we half recognize, caught between laughter and sorrow. We see the hut itself rising and moving through centuries, always waiting, always watching. The cauldron shows not only what has been, but what may come, though its language is mist and flame rather than words. Baba Yaga watches our reaction, lips twitching with a sly smile. Perhaps she delights in the unease her magic brings, or perhaps she weighs the honesty of our gaze. Then, with a sudden movement swift as a hawk diving, she sweeps her bony hand across the cauldron's rim. The vision collapses into smoke, curling upward until it vanishes among the rafters. Silence rushes back in, thick and heavy. Her eyes glimmer as she speaks again. This time her voice is softer but no less commanding. She tells us that the hut holds many secrets, yet none are given freely. One must ask rightly, act rightly, and endure the trial of shadows before a gift is earned. For those who fail, the fence has always room for another skull, and as her words hang in the smoky air, one of the skulls outside sputters and flares as though eager to claim new company. But the hearth's warmth does not recede. Instead it grows deeper, more insistent, as though inviting us to remain, to risk the knowledge waiting behind her stern gaze. Baba Yaga tilts her head, bird-like, eyes narrowing, and we feel that a choice is forming in her mind, a test that will unfold not in words but in ordeal. And while the house creaks softly around us as though breathing, the cat stretches its spine and pads closer, eyes like twin embers ready to watch what comes next. The cat settles at our feet, its fur bristling faintly, as if attuned to forces invisible. Its eyes remain fixed on Baba Yaga, who now leans upon her pestle as one might upon a staff of office. She does not hurry. Instead, she allows the silence to lengthen, drawing it out until the very timbers of the hut seem to strain under its weight. Then, with a dry laugh that sounds like branches breaking under winter frost, she gestures toward the table. Upon the table lies a loaf of black bread, dense as earth, its crust cracked like old bark. A clay cup steams with milk, whose surface glimmers faintly in the firelight, as if stirred by unseen constellations. Baba Yaga's command is unspoken, but clear. To eat is to accept. Refusal is another kind of choice, one the hut itself would remember with little mercy. The bread is rough, its flavour sharp and sour, yet as we taste it, warmth spreads through the body, a strength rooted in hunger's ending. The milk, cool and smooth, eases the burn, settling like a hush after storm. Her iron teeth flash as she watches, her expression unreadable. Perhaps it is approval, perhaps amusement at our mortal need for sustenance. The cat curls its tail and sighs as though the ritual has begun, as it always does. From beyond the hut's thin walls, the riders stir, the white horse's hooves whispering like dawn wind, the red horse stamping sparks of ember, the black horse waiting in stillness, its silence deeper than any sound. They too are witnesses. Baba Yaga moves again, her body creaking like an ancient tree, and she speaks of origins, not of ours but of her own. Her words roll like distant thunder, recounting how she first learned to weave fate into thread. She tells of nights when stars bent low, whispering their secrets into her ear. She tells of rivers that carried not water but memory, and of stones that sang when struck by lightning. All these she gathered, and from them fashioned the tools of her power, the mortar to carry her across the boundaries of the world, the pestle to beat open the barriers between realms, the broom to sweep clean the tracks of destiny. She does not boast, she states. Her voice is neither prideful nor ashamed, but steady, like the rhythm of an old song sung for the 1000th time. In her telling, we hear no separation between creation and destruction. To her, both are threads in one tapestry. What is broken feeds what will be born, what dies nourishes what rises, and her hut, restless upon its legs, is the loom upon which these threads are woven. The rafters echo faintly, as though the house itself approves of her speech. The herbs hanging overhead rustle as though caught in a breeze, though the air remains still. A sense of inevitability settles. We are not here by chance. The hut has summoned us, as it has summoned countless others, each drawn to the promise of what lies hidden within. The skulls on the fence murmur with low fire, their sockets brightening as if eager to record another tale. Baba Yaga narrows her eyes, and her gaze pierces more deeply now, searching not for flesh or fear but for resolve. She speaks of trials yet unnamed, tasks that burn away weakness as fire burns away chaff. She does not reveal their shape, only that they must be met if one wishes to pass from her hut with life and knowledge intact. Her words settle into the floorboards, the smoke, the very marrow of the moment, and the hut hums faintly, as though aligning itself with her decree. The cat stretches again, its spine arching like a bow. It pads toward the door, and sits, tail wrapped neatly around its paws, waiting. The signal is clear. Something will soon be set in motion. Beyond the walls, the forest grows quiet, every bird and beast subdued by anticipation. Even the mist stills, holding its breath. Baba Yaga lifts her pestle, striking it once against the floor. The jars above swing, and from within them comes a chorus of whispers, some pleading, some mocking, some merely sighing with ancient weariness. She nods to their voices, acknowledging them, then turns her sharp gaze back upon us. Her eyes gleam like embers, and in that glow we see the truth. The hut does not only conceal secrets of death and terror, but of passage, of transformation, of the fragile bridge between mortality and the eternal. The hearth flares suddenly, flames leaping higher, casting the witch's shadow monstrous against the walls. For a breath it seems the room itself grows vast, its dimensions stretching beyond mortal measure, filled with corridors of unseen doors. Somewhere behind those doors deeper secrets wait, guarded by the pulse of the hut, by the breath of the forest, by Baba Yaga herself. She lowers her pestle, resting it across her knees like a weapon at peace. The silence returns, yet it is no longer the silence of waiting, it is the silence before choice. The skulls flicker once more, as if leaning forward in expectation. The cat at the threshold blinks slowly, unblinking in its judgment. The riders circle beyond, their unseen hooves tightening the weave of fate. And Baba Yaga, her mouth curling into the faintest of smiles, prepares to speak the command that will draw us deeper into the heart of her lair. Her smile is thin as a knife's edge, a curve that might slice or might simply mark the beginning of a path. Then she speaks, her words low yet resonant, like a drum muffled by earth. She names the first task, not in detail, not in clarity, but in the language of riddle. We are to tend the hut itself, to soothe its restlessness, to coax it into stillness, for only when the house is calm may its deeper chambers open. The command seems simple, but in her voice it carries the weight of impossible expectation. The hut stirs at once, shuddering on its great legs. Its claws scrape the ground outside, restless as a caged beast. The timbers creak, windows rattle, and from the fence of skulls comes a low chorus of groans. The cat flicks its tail with annoyance, leaping onto the table as if to distance itself from the hut's disquiet. Baba Yaga watches without moving, her iron teeth glinting, her gaze sharp as a winter gale. We close our eyes, breathing the air of smoke and herbs, listening to the house's complaints. It creaks not only from age, but from hunger, from sorrow, from memories bound into its boards. To soothe it is to answer these longings. Slowly we reach out, laying a hand upon the wood. At once a shiver runs through the planks, like the tremor of an animal half wild. Images flood the mind, storms battering the walls, fires licking at the eaves, voices screaming and whispering, children crying, prayers uttered into darkness. The hut remembers all who entered, and its unrest is not mindless. It is grief and rage and weariness intertwined. We murmur words not of command, but of recognition. We tell the hut we hear it, that we see the weight of centuries upon it. Our voice is quiet, steady, almost like a lullaby. Slowly the shuddering lessens. The skull's flames dim into softer light, their sockets blinking as though drowsy. The house leans upon its legs, feathers quivering, talons curling into earth until the scraping ceases. The cat purrs, a deep vibration that joins the hush. Baba Yaga nods, though faintly. Approval, perhaps, or mere acknowledgement that we have not yet failed. She taps her pestle once, and the jars above sway, releasing brief glimmers of light as though the house itself exhales. The hut is more than wood and claw, she murmurs. It is a mirror, and mirrors hunger for truth. Calm it once, and it will open a door. Fail it, and it will devour you in silence. Her voice lingers like smoke even after she ceases speaking. The door at the far side of the room creaks open on its own, revealing a passage where none was before. Darkness stretches beyond, thick and uncertain, though faint glimmers pulse as though distant stars live within the corridor. The scent of damp earth wafts through, mingled with something metallic, something sharp as old iron. Baba Yaga gestures toward it, her long nails gleaming. The test has only begun, and now we must step deeper. The cat leaps from the table and pads ahead, tail high, as if guiding us into the unknown. Its paws make no sound on the boards. The skulls outside flare once more, casting brief fire through the window before dimming again, like eyes closing to sleep. We follow the cat into the new passage, the air growing cooler, denser, as if thick with centuries not yet spoken. Behind us, Baba Yaga remains still, but we feel her gaze burning into our back, a weight that reminds us this path is chosen, not given. The corridor narrows, its walls shifting subtly, as if the hut breathes through them. Strange shapes protrude. Branches, bones, fragments of tools, bits of cloth, all are pressed into the living wood, swallowed and preserved, like offerings half-remembered. We walk slowly, each step heavy, as though we tread upon years themselves. The cat glances back with ember eyes, urging patience. Soon the passage widens into a chamber, circular and low, its ceiling hung with roots. Here the air hums, and in its centre rises a pool of water, dark as obsidian. The surface is still, reflecting not our face but the forest outside, trees bending in winds that do not touch us. The pool is no water but memory, a vision held captive within the hut's heart. The cat sits by its edge, watching, while the silence grows so deep it aches. The water ripples without touch, and images swirl. Villages burning, harvests thriving, children lost to the woods, heroes returning with gifts. All who ever sought Baba Yaga are there, their stories woven together in liquid shadow. Some faces beam with triumph, others are swallowed by despair. The vision shifts until it reveals the hut itself, walking across centuries, carrying its secrets like treasures in its belly. At its centre, always Baba Yaga, her iron teeth shining. The pool grows restless, waves lapping though no wind stirs. The hut quivers faintly, uneasy again, its legs shifting outside. The task is not finished. To calm it fully, we must do more than listen. We must give. The hut asks for a token, a part of ourselves, not flesh, but essence, something unseen but real. The cat leans close, purring louder, urging surrender. We kneel beside the pool and breathe deeply, remembering our fear, our longing, our hunger for what lies hidden in this place. With care we offer that hunger itself, releasing it like a breath across the surface. The water ripples, light blooms, and the reflection shifts into stillness. The hut sighs, its great body settling into calm once more. For a moment, silence reigns so complete it feels like eternity. From afar, faint footsteps echo. Baba Yaga is coming, pestle tapping, mortar scraping. The test is not over, but the first gate is opened. The cat's tail flicks once, satisfied, before it vanishes into the shadows ahead. And as we rise from the pool, a new door forms in the chamber's wall, its frame pulsing faintly with firelight, waiting to be crossed. The new door stands before us, pulsing faintly with firelight, its frame alive with quiet breathing, as though the hut itself exhales through its seams. The air around it is charged, tasting of pine sap and iron, sharp and sweet together. When we place a hand upon its wood, warmth spreads through the palm, and behind our ribs the heart beats in rhythm with the house. It is no ordinary door, but a threshold shaped by will, by surrender, by the gift we laid into the pool. The latch yields softly, and the chamber beyond blooms open. Inside is twilight, not of day nor night, but of some in-between hour that holds its own sovereignty. The floor is layered with moss that springs gently beneath the feet, as though we step upon the skin of a living forest. Roots dangle from the ceiling, dripping with silver dew. Between them hang cages, hundreds of them, each wrought of bone and branch, swaying though no wind blows. Within some cages burn faint blue flames, whispering faintly like sleeping voices. Others stand empty, their doors ajar, shadows crouching where life once flickered. The cat reappears, slipping soundlessly across the moss. It leaps onto a low branch, curling there with deliberate ease, its amber eyes unblinking. From its place it watches as though judge and guide both. We follow its gaze upward, and there, across the chamber, Baba Yaga emerges. She does not step from a door, she simply is, as if she had always been here, waiting for us to notice. Her figure bends, stretches, reshapes, at one moment impossibly tall, at another hunched and small. Her iron teeth flash as she smiles, though the smile is not kindness but recognition of progress made. With a long bony finger she points to the cages. Her voice rolls through the chamber, low and steady, like the turning of a millstone. She tells us these are not prisons but vessels of trial. Each flame within is the remnant of a soul that came seeking, tested, and either endured or faltered. The empty cages are not empty at all, she explains, but waiting, hungry to cradle what will come next. The whispering flames stir as she speaks, rising and falling, their voices a chorus of half-forgotten lullabies and laments. We move closer, and one cage swings gently toward us. Inside flickers a small flame, pale as breath on winter air. It trembles, guttering low, then surges bright, as though aware of our presence. Baba Yaga's eyes gleam. She commands us to choose to reach within the cage and claim the flame, not to keep it, but to bear it. The task is clear: carry the fragile light across the chamber, without letting it falter. In this, she says, lies the measure of steadiness, of balance between strength and gentleness. Fail, and the flame will sputter out, joining the silence of the extinguished. The door behind us vanishes. The chamber grows larger, its far side stretching farther and farther away. The moss becomes uneven, rising into knotted ridges and hollows, and the cages swing more violently as if stirred by unseen storms. The task has already begun. We reach into the cage. The flame resists at first, flaring angrily, but when we cup it with both hands, it settles, hovering between palms like a living coal. Its warmth is delicate, its weight nearly nothing, yet it commands absolute attention. Each step forward becomes an act of care. The moss shifts beneath our feet, sometimes yielding, sometimes hardening into stone. The whispering flames in the cages murmur louder, some encouraging, some mocking, some indifferent. Their voices swirl, trying to shake our focus. The cat leaps from branch to branch, always ahead, guiding though never interfering. Its eyes glow faintly in the dim, steady as stars. Baba Yaga follows at a distance, her shadow bending and twisting along the walls, the pestle in her hand tapping faint rhythms upon the ground. She says nothing, but her silence is heavier than command. The flame flickers when doubt enters, when our breath quickens, when fear presses too near. We slow, grounding each step, breathing as the hut breathes, finding rhythm in its living silence. The moss steadies, the cages quiet, the flame grows calmer, yet the chamber tests again. A sudden gust of unseen wind rushes through, rattling every cage, swirling shadows into claws. The flame shivers wildly. We shield it with our body, kneeling low, whispering to it as though it were a frightened child. Our words are not grand, only gentle assurances carried on breath. The flame steadies once more. When at last we reach the far side, the chamber shrinks back to its original size, as though it had only pretended to stretch into infinity. A stone altar rises from the moss, smooth and dark, its surface waiting. We set the flame upon it, and instantly it blooms bright, swelling into a sphere of light that floods the chamber. The cages fall still, their shadows retreating. The whispers hush. Even the cat lifts its head with quiet satisfaction. Baba Yaga steps forward. Her iron teeth gleam, but her eyes soften, just a fraction. She touches the flame with her nail, and it sinks into the altar, absorbed, leaving behind only the faint smell of warmed honey and ash. She tells us in words that feel both praise and warning that we have borne the weight of care, yet this is but one layer. Deeper secrets still lie hidden, and for those the trials will sharpen. The hut groans above, its great legs shifting outside, yet it does not thrash. It seems calmer, as though acknowledging the small victory. The cat stretches, then bounds toward another archway, newly revealed in the chamber's wall. Its outline flickers with shadows of wings, as if beyond lies a place where air itself is alive. Baba Yaga watches, silent, her crooked smile unreadable. The archway breathes, waiting for us to pass, and the hut leans as though tilting us toward it. We feel the pull, the gentle insistence of a path not yet walked, and as we step toward the shadowed threshold, the chamber darkens, leaving only the echo of whispering flames and the faintest scent of smoke guiding us onward. The archway looms, shadow trembling across its curve like wings preparing to take flight. We step closer, the moss muffling our tread, and the air changes, lighter now, yet edged with tension, as if holding a storm within its lungs. The cat slips through first, its fur brushing the arch. In an instant it vanishes into darkness, and the sound of faint rustling wings drifts back. The hut leans, timbers groaning, urging us forward. Crossing the threshold, we enter a vast chamber where air itself feels alive. The walls are veiled in feathers, layered upon one another, white, black, russet, speckled, forming a shifting tapestry that rustles though no wind blows. Each feather quivers like a heartbeat, as if each belongs to a bird that once flew free. Overhead, shadows wheel in endless circles, though no birds are seen, only their silhouettes cast by unseen flame. The floor beneath us is not moss but sand, soft and pale, shifting faintly as though remembering countless migrations. At the chamber's centre stands Baba Yaga. She towers now impossibly tall, her head brushing the rafters. Her iron teeth gleam in the half-light, but her eyes are distant, fixed on the feathers as if listening to an ancient choir. The mortar and pestle rest at her side, quiet but heavy with power. When she speaks, her voice is carried not by lips alone, but by the wings that rustle unseen above. She tells us this chamber is the aviary of shadows, a place where the souls of birds once given in sacrifice linger. Not prisoners, but watchers. Their flight continues, though bound to her hut circling between worlds. She speaks of how each bird was offered with hope, a harvest saved, a storm diverted, a lover returned from war. Their feathers became the fabric of the walls, and their spirits weave omens through the air. To understand the hut's deeper secret, she says, we must listen to these voices and discern the truth hidden in their endless flight. The cat sits at the chamber's edge, tail curled, eyes glowing. Its gaze meets ours, and we feel it urging silence. So we stand still, closing our eyes, letting the feathered rustle wash over us. At first, the sound is chaos, beating, fluttering, surging as if storm winds tangle in branches. But slowly patterns emerge, a rhythm beneath the noise. The wings form words without tongue, a language older than speech. The feathers whisper of crossroads, where paths diverge and never meet again. They whisper of hunters who loosed arrows without thanks, and of children who tied ribbons in branches, prayers carried on wind. They whisper of storms that shattered roofs yet spared one hearth, because a gift of grain had been left at the forest's edge. Their voices twine into one truth. Nothing given is ever lost. Every offering, every neglect, shapes the world's balance. As the whispers deepen, one shadow descends. It takes shape slowly, feathers knitting into form, until a great raven stands before us. Its eyes burn like black suns, endless and consuming. Baba Yaga watches with iron calm as the raven bows its head toward us, waiting. The test reveals itself without words. We must hold its gaze and not turn away, for to meet the raven's eye is to look into the sum of endings, into the dark that devours both coward and king. The stare is heavy, pressing upon the chest, colder than winter, vaster than sky. Images surge, fields gone fallow, hearths gone cold, names forgotten. Yet within the abyss we glimpse other shapes, seeds sprouting in black soil, fires kindling from ash, new voices rising where silence had reigned. The raven does not promise destruction alone, but transformation carried through endings. We hold fast, even as knees tremble, even as heart beats thunder. At last the raven croaks once, a sound deep as stone splitting. It stretches its wings, then dissolves into shadow, rising to join the endless wheel above. The chamber hushes. Baba Yaga's laugh cuts through, sharp and dry, but not cruel. She tilts her head, acknowledging the steadiness we showed, though her smile is edged with knowing that deeper trials yet wait. The feathers along the walls shimmer, glowing faintly, then part to reveal another passage. It breathes with cool air, scented faintly of earth after rain. The cat rises and pads toward it, vanishing again into shadow. Baba Yaga does not follow. She remains amid the feathers, her presence like a rooted tree refusing to move. Her eyes linger on us, iron teeth glinting, and her voice follows, low and steady. You have listened, but listening is not enough. To know the heart of this hut, you must give voice. The passage darkens, its end unseen. The hut shifts upon its legs, tilting us toward the new threshold, as if eager to see whether we dare speak what waits in silence. And so, with the echo of wings still trembling in our bones, we step forward into the next mystery. The passage receives us like a throat swallowing. The air grows cooler, heavy with damp earth and the faint musk of roots coiling unseen. Each step presses into soil soft as velvet, and somewhere water drips, slow and patient, counting time in droplets instead of hours. The cat moves ahead, tail swaying like a pendulum, guiding us through the narrowing corridor. Behind, the whisper of wings fades, replaced by a silence so complete it feels sculpted, deliberate, expectant. Soon the passage opens into a hollow chamber, carved not of wood but of living root. Twisted tendrils descend from above, thick as serpents, braided into pillars that hold the ceiling aloft. They pulse faintly, carrying sap like veins carrying blood. The chamber is lit by no flame, yet a soft glow seeps from the roots themselves, pale green and golden, as though the hut's heart grows here in vegetal form. Baba Yaga is already waiting. She crouches low this time, closer to the ground, her limbs folded like a bird, brooding over its clutch. Her iron teeth gleam faintly in the glow, but her eyes are shadowed, unreadable. She runs her gnarled fingers across the roots, stroking them as if they were living children. The hut trembles at her touch, and the roots thrum like strings plucked in a deep song only it can hear. Her voice rises, quieter now, softer, though still bearing that edge of command. She speaks of roots as memory, the earth's memory, the hut's memory, and the memory of those who dared to enter. Every choice, every breath, every fear spilled here threads into these veins. Nothing is forgotten, though much is buried. She tells us the hut conceals not only secrets of the future, but the weight of what has already been, and to proceed we must bear witness to it. The cat curls upon one root, its eyes half closed, yet its ears twitch at every word. We move closer, and Baba Yaga gestures with one crooked hand toward a vast root that runs across the floor like the spine of some buried beast. Its surface is scarred, marked with carvings and grooves, as though it has been written upon by countless hands. When we touch it, warmth seeps upward, and the chamber shifts. Visions rise, not from water or fire this time, but from wood itself. They unfurl around us like leaves in spring. We see villagers gathering at the forest's edge, leaving offerings of bread, milk, and small trinkets upon stumps. We see children warned with stern voices not to stray, though curiosity burns in their eyes. We see hunters whispering prayers before loosing arrows, knowing their survival depends on a balance unseen. The root reveals all the reverence, the fear, the bargains made with shadows. Then darker images creep in, flames consuming huts, screams torn from throats as marauders descend. We see desperate feet running through the forest, carrying babes wrapped in cloth, only to stumble at the fence of skulls. We see faces pale with terror at the turning hut, begging for mercy, some granted, others denied. The root remembers everything, and its memories are impartial, offering no comfort, only truth. Baba Yaga's gaze never wavers as we watch. She speaks again, telling us that to know the hut is to accept that it is both sanctuary and snare, a place where mercy and cruelty are indistinguishable until the final moment. The hut's secret lies not in choosing one face, but in holding them both. To continue, we must give voice to what we see, to speak aloud the truth of memory, unsoftened, unmasked. Our throat tightens, but we obey. Words rise halting at first, then stronger. We describe the villagers' reverence, the hunters' bargains, the terror of those who fled, the fate of those consumed. We speak of fire, of bone, of hunger, of fleeting mercy. Each truth uttered seems to sink into the roots, which glow brighter, pulsing with each syllable. The cat's ears flick, approving. Baba Yaga's lips curl faintly, as if tasting the sharpness of our honesty. When the last word falls, silence returns, thicker than before. Then the roots shift, groaning like old timbers. A new opening unfurls in the chamber wall, shaped not by axe or fire, but by the roots themselves, parting like curtains. Beyond lies darkness, streaked faintly with veins of light, pulsing in rhythm with the hut's hidden heart. Baba Yaga rises slowly, towering again, her joints cracking like branches in frost. Her eyes gleam now, reflecting that hidden light. She does not follow us yet, she only speaks. Her voice is steady as earth itself. You have given voice, and the roots have heard. But memory is not enough. To know what lies deepest, you must feed the hunger that waits beyond. The cat leaps down, padding toward the opening, its tail flicking once in summons. The roots quiver, humming low, as if eager for what comes next. The hut groans overhead, its legs scraping the soil outside. Restless, expectant, the path opens wider, and the breath of the unseen chamber brushes our face, cold and sharp as stone, long buried. And so, with memory still burning on our tongue, we step into the darkness where hunger itself awaits. The darkness receives us like a cavern that has never known sun. Its breath chills the skin, carrying the taste of stone and marrow, sharp enough to sting the tongue. Threads of faint light run through the black, pulsing like veins beneath the surface, guiding us forward though they reveal little of what surrounds. The air hums with a low hunger, not sound but sensation, as if the walls themselves yearn for something to fill their emptiness. The cat moves ahead, its outline melting in and out of the dim veins of light. Its paws are noiseless, its eyes burning faintly amber, marking the path. Behind us, the roots seal, closing the way back. There is no return, only descent. The hut groans above, far yet present, its restless weight pressing downward, as though all its limbs and bones lean into this hollow. Gradually the chamber reveals itself. The ground is stone, slick with moisture, carved by grooves that resemble teeth marks. Pits yawn open here and there, filled with shadows too deep to fathom. Along the walls hang shapes neither bone nor branch, but something between fossilized remnants of what the hut has devoured and transfigured. Some are unrecognizable, twisted into grotesque spirals. Others bear faint resemblance to human hands, outstretched as if caught mid-prayer. All are silent, yet their presence presses upon us. At the chamber's heart stands Baba Yaga. She is changed again, larger, her spine bent yet immense, her hair wild as storm clouds, her teeth gleaming like knives in the thin light. The pestle rests upright in the stone floor, embedded like a pillar, and the mortar lies behind her, wide as a trough, stained with ages of use. Her eyes glow faintly, pale green like the veins around us, reflecting hunger as old as soil. She greets us not with words but with a gesture. One bony finger points toward the mortar. Its basin seethes with darkness, shifting and roiling. Not liquid nor smoke, but the essence of appetite itself. It churns with voices that whimper and snarl, voices of cravings unfulfilled, of desires stretched beyond reason. Baba Yaga's voice follows at last, steady and merciless. The hut does not only remember, it hungers. To walk its depths you must feed it, not with flesh, not with blood, but with what you cling to most. The words strike deeper than any blade. To feed the hut is to surrender something of the self, something held tight. The mortar waits, its surface rippling in anticipation, exhaling cold like a grave unsealed. The cat leaps onto its rim, tail swaying, eyes steady. It gazes at us as though to ask, "What will you relinquish?" We search within, and the chamber seems to press closer, demanding. Hunger whispers from every groove, every fossilized remnant, every echo of craving. It tempts with ease, surrender nothing, and be swallowed whole. Yet in Baba Yaga's gaze burns a challenge, sharp and unwavering. To keep all is to lose everything. To give is to open the hidden path. Breath slows, heart hammering, we draw forth what lies deepest. Not gold, not bone, not trinket, but longing itself. The yearning that drove us to step into this hut, to seek its secrets. We take that hunger, shaping it into a single thread of breath, a pulse of fire behind the ribs, and lay it into the mortar. At once the basin flares, swallowing the offering. The darkness writhes, shrieking with voices half-formed, then sinks into silence. The chamber trembles, veins of light brightening, flowing into the stone as though sated for the moment. The pits cease their restless sighing. Even the fossilized remnants seem to relax, shadows softening. Baba Yaga exhales, a sound like iron cooling. Her iron teeth glint. Her eye is narrowing as she studies what we surrendered. For a moment the edges of her mouth curl. Not quite a smile, not quite a grimace. She speaks again, her words rasping like branches scraping glass. The hut accepts, but the hunger returns. Always. You have given once. You must give again. Only through feeding and emptying will you learn what lies beneath. The cat leaps lightly from the mortar, landing at our feet. It brushes against us, its fur warm, grounding after the chill. Then it pads toward a cleft in the wall, where the veins of light run brightest. The fissure widens as it approaches, forming another passage. Air rushes from within, cooler still, but tinged now with a fragrance unfamiliar, sharp metallic, yet touched with sweetness, like rain falling into a forge. Baba Yaga lifts her pestle from the stone, the ground groaning as it frees. She does not follow, but remains in the chamber, her form immense and unyielding, her gaze fixed upon us like the weight of centuries. Her voice carries after us, low and inexorable. The hut has tasted your longing, now it will taste your fear. The fissure beckons, its glow pulsing, its breath chilling. The cat disappears inside, tail flicking once before vanishing. The walls close behind, leaving no retreat, and so we step forward, carrying emptiness where hunger once lived, knowing that the next chamber will ask for what trembles most in the marrow. The fissure swallows us, its walls close and slick, pulsing with faint veins of light that throb like hidden arteries. The air tightens, heavy with the tang of iron, each breath sharp against the throat. The cat glides ahead, its body a silhouette sliding effortlessly through the narrow dark. Behind, the chamber of hunger seals itself, vanishing into silence as though it had never been. Only forward exists now. At last the cleft widens, opening into a cavern vast and hollow, where the ceiling disappears into shadow. Here the light shifts, no longer green or golden, but silver, like moonlight poured through water. It drips from the walls in streams, pooling on the ground into shallow mirrors that ripple as we approach. The reflections do not hold our face. Instead they twist, revealing images of things half remembered. A stumble in the forest, a word left unsaid, a night of shame pressed into secrecy. Each mirror whispers softly, voices threading like smoke, calling not in accusation but in invitation. The cat steps onto one pool and does not sink. Its paws leave ripples that fade quickly, as though the water recognizes it. When we follow, the surface accepts our weight with hesitation, trembling beneath the soles before holding steady. Each step forward shows more reflections, each more piercing. They are fears, yes, but not monsters with claws. They are quiet, ordinary shadows that have clung longer than we knew. From the far end of the cavern, Baba Yaga rises. Her shape looms immense, her shoulders bent yet filling the chamber. She carries the pestle in one hand, tapping it softly against the mirror pools, sending ripples of silver through them. Her iron teeth gleam faintly, but her eyes burn with a deeper fire, steady and merciless. When she speaks, her voice slides across the surface of every pool, echoing until the cavern itself seems to whisper. Fear is the marrow of the hut, she says. It is the root from which every hunger grows. Feed it and it devours you. Face it, and it opens the path. Her hand sweeps toward the pools, and they surge with light. Shapes climb upward from the reflections, fragile as smoke, yet sharp as glass edges. They take form, a child Kyle alone, a faceless crowd laughing in scorn, a figure lying still and cold while grief howls unseen. Each shape embodies a fear pressed into silence, and each waits for acknowledgement. The task is not to fight, but to endure. The figures drift closer, their presence thickening the air, their whispers burrowing into the bones. The child's cry shatters into echoes. The faceless crowd presses close. The still figure draws the breath from our lungs. The pools ripple wildly, threatening to crack beneath our feet. The cat crouches, ears flat, its eyes never leaving ours. Baba Yaga waits, her silence like a blade pressed against the throat. We steady ourselves, breathing slow. Though every instinct cries to flee, we look upon the child, and whisper that it was not forgotten. We face the crowd and acknowledge the sting of their scorn. We gaze at the still figure and admit the weight of loss that never left. Each truth spoken aloud dims the shadow's sharpness, softening its outline until it fades back into reflection. The pools calm, their whispers subsiding into hush. But one figure remains. From the largest pool rises a towering shape, neither child nor stranger, but ourselves, distorted, hollow-eyed, trembling with every weakness we deny. It lurches forward, heavy, inevitable. To look away is impossible. To fight is futile. The cat arches its back, hissing low, yet does not intervene. Baba Yaga tilts her head, her iron smile widening, as though this is the test she most anticipated. The mirror self halts before us, its breath cold against our skin. Its eyes hold every doubt, every falter, every secret dread of unworthiness. To endure it is to stand against oneself. We raise our head and meet its gaze, not with denial but with recognition. The words rise slowly. You are part of me. At once the shape shudders, dissolving into ripples of silver, sinking back into the pool. The cavern sighs, vast and deep, as though relieved of long-held tension. The silver light brightens, flowing into veins across the walls, then gathering at the cavern's far edge. There, a door of light forms, its outline shimmering like the curve of the moon. The pools fall silent, their surfaces smooth and still. Holding no more shapes, Baba Yaga steps closer, her shadow stretching long. Her eyes fix upon us, unreadable, though a spark of recognition flickers within them. Her voice, low as grinding stone, carries across the hush. You have stood in the mirror of fear, and it did not swallow you, but fear never dies. It waits, patient as roots, faithful as death. Remember this, for the hut remembers always. Her words sink into the marrow, lodging there like seeds that will not loosen. The cat pads toward the door of light, pausing at its threshold to glance back once, as if to ensure we follow. The hut above groans, its legs shifting, its weight leaning toward this place, eager. The silver glow spills outward, brushing our skin with cold that feels almost pure. Behind us, Baba Yaga remains in the cavern, her figure immense against the silver pools, her pestle gleaming. She does not follow. Her gaze lingers, piercing, then turns away as though she has already seen what lies ahead. The door brightens, widening, its light deepening into the colour of dawn. And so we step forward, leaving behind the hush of mirrors, carrying with us both the recognition of fear and the whisper that the hut has yet more secrets to demand. The door of light opens like a pale eyelid lifting. We enter, and the silver deepens into a near-dawn hue that does not burn but clarifies, making edges honest and quiet. Warmth rises through the soles, as if the floor itself were a slow exhalation. The cat slips ahead, its fur briefly frosted by the glow. Far above, the hut shifts upon its great legs, its weight presses downward like a hand, not hostile, merely present, reminding us that we still stand inside a creature that remembers. This is a hallway without walls. Paths appear and fade like auroras, braiding before us and then unwinding into air. In each ribbon we glimpse lives we might have chosen, a gate not crossed, a vow not spoken, a kindness offered too late. They pass like migrating birds, warning against the urge to be elsewhere. The hut does not trade in regret. It shows the aftertaste of choice. Our chest aches with sweetness and sting. Baba Yaga's voice arrives without footsteps. Carried on the grain of light itself, she speaks of threads, some spun by mothers, some by winter, some by hands that never touch yet know the loom. The house keeps them, she murmurs, so no thread is lost. Beneath her words we hear the pestle beating time somewhere behind all walls, the way a heart marks seasons in a body that refuses sleep. Before us rises a gate, fashioned from shadow and snowmelt. It shines like fish scale, delicate, yet unbreakable. On its crossbar perch 3 small flames, white, red, and black, flickering like birds of dawn, noon, and night. We have met their riders beyond these rooms. Now they look to us as sparks. The cat leaps lightly and the lights tremble. Then hold. The test is written without inscription. Pass by nining what each flame governs within us, and mean it. We wait until truth surfaces of its own accord. The white flame holds beginnings. Milk, morning bread, the first cold step. We vow to begin a listening that does not end. The red flame bears labour and heat. We pledge to carry what is heavy without becoming stone. The black is completion. The night that keeps the seed. We promise to finish gently. The gate sighs like thawing ice and opens. It opens onto a meadow no eye has seen outside of dream. Grass rises like green smoke, and a river glides so slowly the sky has time to admire itself in each scale of fish. On the far bank, a line of stumps bears bowls of milk, fresh as if set this morning by unseen hands. None sours. The fair smells of birch and rye and the brass of church bells rolled in fog. Yet we have not left the house. The hut has turned itself inside out to teach gentleness by space. Shapes move along the river. Figures in old garments, half transparent, pausing to drink, to wash, to lift burdens we cannot name. They are not ghosts, but possibilities that never ripened, learning to loosen their ache when they lift their faces. Some carry our features, others wear cheekbones of strangers, whose names nearly return. They do not speak. They thicken the air with warmth and then become air again. Baba Yaga appears on the opposite bank, smaller now, a thin woman with hair like uncombed twilight. Her mortar floats beside her on the current like a dark new moon. She does not cross. She watches with a gaze divested of judgment, curious as whether. The hut is a mouth, she says across the water, iron soft. It devours, and it sings. Learn the song that keeps it from choking. The cat pads to the edge. Ripples gather as if the river were listening. The task reveals itself by necessity rather than command. The current falters, the meadow dims, the grass bows, as if sleep were a wind, should the water stall. The house will clog with futures unspent. The silt of choice is never released. We must set the river moving without force. We kneel and listen. Beneath the surface the flow hums a rhythm that wants to be story. We add breath where it falters, a quiet cadence learned in the mirrored cavern, refined by the evidence of shadows, gentled by roots. We thread our vow from the gate into the river's low song. The cat contributes the deep vowel of purr. On the stumps, the bowls tremble and spill thin white threads back into the stream like milk. Remembering its pasture, the river answers. It swells by the width of a breath, then another. Fish tilt and move. The grass relaxes. The air brightens. The figures tilt their heads in gratitude and thin into light that the wind can hold. Baba Yaga nods once. The small motion of a branch deciding not to break under ice, and draws a circle in air with her pestle. The sky ripples like silk. A door of dusk appears where no wall exists. You have unstopped a small future, her voice carries, to keep the house from hoarding. You must also learn to refuse. Refusal is a gate that protects the hearth. A faint craving scratches at the palm, the urge to gather the bowls, to keep the river bright by possession. We open our hands empty. The hunger loosens like a bird released, circling once before choosing the trees. The cat flicks its tail, satisfied, and steps into the door of dusk as into familiar weather. The hut bends on its great legs. Far away the fence of skulls clicks softly, counting, then forgetting the number. The meadow folds itself like cloth. The river wears our breath for a moment more and then sings alone. We move toward the dusk door, knowing that behind it the house keeps turning, and that the next chamber holds a secret, with teeth and with lullaby in the same mouth now. The door of dusk folds around us like a cloak, soft yet weighty, pressing with the gravity of twilight. The air beyond is dense, scented with smoke, resin, and something older stone cracked by fire, soil turned by ancient ploughs. The cat moves first, its paws leaving no sound, its eyes faint lanterns in the dim. We follow, the path unrolling beneath our feet, not as floorboards but as darkened earth, tamped flat by countless unseen steps. The hut groans faintly, timbers adjusting, as though bracing for what must come next. The passage deepens until it opens into a chamber shaped like a circle of hearths. Dozens of stoves stand in a ring, each built from clay, brick, or stone, each glowing with faint embers though no hand tends them. The warmth is uneven, some fires smouldering low, others burning more brightly. The air is alive with scents of bread, ash, and herbs, braided together into a fragrance that speaks of hunger and its answer. In the center of the ring stands Baba Yaga. Her body is hunched, yet her presence fills the space, as flame fills a dark house. Her pestle rests against one stove, and the mortar squats nearby like a watchful beast. Her hair streams wild, glinting in the firelight, like strands of soot and silver. Her gaze holds us steady, and for a moment we feel as though we stand not before one being, but before every grandmother, every crone, every keeper of the fire who ever fed or refused. Her voice emerges, low and steady, laced with smoke. She speaks of hearths, of their role as both womb and tomb, feeding mouths yet consuming wood, giving warmth yet threatening to burn. She tells us the hut itself is such a hearth, devouring and sustaining at once. To know its secret is to balance on that edge, where nourishment and destruction kiss. Tonight, she says, we must learn what it is to tend the fire of another without letting it claim us. She gestures, and the stoves stir, flames brighten, embers crackle, and from the smoke rise shapes. People bent over their own hearths, women kneading bread, men sharpening blades, children blowing on kindling. Their faces are indistinct, blurred by smoke, yet their movements are vivid. They lean toward us, their stoves sighing louder, demanding fuel, attention, devotion. Each hearth calls, each insists it is the one that must be fed. The cat circles the ring, tail twitching, then sits before one stove whose fire burns neither high nor low, but steady, its embers glowing deep red. Its smoke carries a faint sweetness, like apple wood. The cat's gaze fixes on us, unblinking, and we understand the task, to choose which fire we tend, and which we let fade. The test is not of abundance, but of discernment. To feed all is to lose oneself. To refuse all is to betray the gift of fire. One must choose. We kneel before the chosen stove, laying our hands near its warmth. Its heat reaches us, comforting yet insistent, and it opens like a mouth hungry for offering. We take a piece of wood from the pile at our side. Where it came from we do not know, and place it within. The embers flare, licking upward with sudden vigor. The smoke rises sweet and strong, shaping briefly into the outline of a face before dissolving. The stove sighs content, while the others dim in quiet acceptance. Baba Yaga's eyes gleam in the shifting light. Her iron teeth flash as she speaks. To feed one is to refuse many. This is the nature of all tending. The hut's secret is not generosity without limit, but fire given where it must be given. Her words fall heavy, yet they carry no cruelty, only truth hammered into shape like metal in flame. The stoves fade, one by one, their embers sinking into ash, until only the chosen stove glows before us. From its chimney rises a column of smoke spiraling upward into the rafters, then coiling back downward. It twists and folds until it forms a new passage, woven from shadow and ash. The cat leaps into the smoke path, its body vanishing as though swallowed, but its eyes linger, two sparks glowing until they too dissolve. The hut groans again, louder this time, its legs scraping the soil outside. The sound vibrates through the chamber, through the bones, reminding us of the immense being in which we walk. Baba Yaga steps back, her shadow long against the ring of stoves, her gaze resting on us with both weight and expectation. "You have chosen once," she says, "but choice repeats, and each leaves a mark upon the house." Her pestle taps the ground, a slow rhythm, and the mortar stirs, shifting like an animal impatient to hunt. Smoke thickens around her, cloaking her form until only her eyes gleam. The chosen stove burns brighter, casting light upon the new passage of ash. It sways faintly, waiting as though it could collapse if we delay too long. We step toward it, the warmth brushing our skin, the smoke curling into our lungs. The passage trembles, alive, carrying us toward the next secret, where fire may no longer comfort, but consume. And as we enter, the hut tilts, its massive frame creaking, as though leaning forward eagerly to watch. The smoke swallows us whole. It clings to the skin, seeps into hair, tastes of both hearth and pyre. For a long breath there is no ground, no ceiling, only drifting ash that glimmers faintly, as though each mote remembers a fire it once belonged to. Then the haze thins, and we stand upon a floor that shimmers like coal, just past flame, black yet glowing faintly red in hidden veins. The hut groans above, its legs grinding soil, as though unsettled by this descent. The chamber we enter is round and cavernous, its walls ribbed with beams scorched and twisted. In their grooves lie piles of bones, not clean, not arranged, but scattered, remnants of beasts, of men, of things that never had names. Their sockets gape, their jaws fixed in silent cries. Some skulls still flicker faintly with ember fire, as though they remember being placed upon the fence outside. This is the hut's furnace heart, the place where all devoured things are unmade and reshaped. At the center rises Baba Yaga, vast now, her figure bent yet immense, her head nearly brushing the blackened rafters. Her skin gleams with certain cinder, her teeth flash brighter than flame. Her eyes burn green as wet wood thrown into fire. She leans upon her pestle, its end buried deep in ash, while her mortar crouches beside her like a cauldron waiting to boil. Around her coils the smoke of centuries, thick with memory, thick with endings. Her voice strikes like a hammer against the bone-strewn walls. All who enter feed the fire, willingly or not. The hut keeps none unchanged. Those who beg for mercy, those who come with boldness, those who stumble blind, they all leave a trace. The secret you seek lies here, where death is not end, but recipe. At her gesture, the bones stir. They rattle against one another, clicking like teeth, rising in crooked shapes. Some form half-skeletons that stumble forward, jaws chattering with words unsaid. Others twist into grotesque figures, spines bent, arms too long, crawling across the coals. Each carries the echo of one who once stood where we stand now. Their presence is heavy, their intent unclear. The cat prowls along the edge of the chamber, fur bristling but eyes calm. It does not intervene, only watches, tail twitching, as though waiting to see how we face what rises. Baba Yaga's grin widens, her teeth sharp as scythes. "Face them," she commands. "Not with blade, not with flight. See them, and see yourself within them. For they are what the hut makes of those who resist its truth." The figures shamble closer. Their bones clatter, their sockets burn faintly, their jaws gnash. Fear presses like heat, but behind it lingers sorrow, a sorrow that sinks deeper than terror. These are not monsters, they are failures, fragments of those who refused to give, who clung to fear, who turned from choice. Their fate was not simple death, but unending hunger, restless echo. We stand our ground. One skeleton lurches forward, its ribs caving inward as if crushed by unseen weight. We reach out, not to fight, but to touch. The bone is hot, searing to the skin, yet as we endure it, the figure halts. Its skull tilts, sockets empty yet questioning. We whisper words of recognition, that it was human once, that its longing was not wasted, At those words, the ember within its skull flares and then fades, leaving the bones to collapse into ash. The others hesitate. Their movements falter, their jaws still. We turn to them, acknowledging each one. Those who feared, those who hungered, those who refused. We name their truth without judgment. One by one, their ember fires flare, then extinguish, until only ash remains. The chamber grows quieter, the air less suffocating. Even the hut itself seems to sigh, its beams relaxing. Baba Yaga studies us, her eyes narrowing. Her smile fades into something sharper, almost solemn. You give release, she says. Few do, fewer still survive the giving. Her voice softens, though the iron beneath remains. But the fire is not sated. It has tasted your courage. Now it will taste your cost. From the ashes rises one last shape. Unlike the others, it bears our likeness. Though warped, our face twisted in fear, our hands clutching greedily, our body bent with cowardice. It is not merely echo, but reflection, a version of us that might have been. Its eyes glow fiercely, hungering not for release, but for dominion. It moves toward us with purpose, silent, inevitable. The cat hisses low, fur rising, yet does not strike. Baba Yaga lifts a pestle, pointing it toward the figure, her voice like iron striking stone. This is the fire's demand. Face the shadow that carries your name. Only then will the hut reveal what it keeps beneath its last door. The chamber dims, the red veins pulsing faster, casting the shadow self into stark relief. It steps closer, bones crunching beneath its feet, hand outstretched as though to seize what we are, and as the hut leans upon its legs outside, trembling with anticipation, we feel the test sharpening into its most intimate shape. The figure that wears our likeness advances, its movements unnervingly familiar. Each step is a mirror of our own gait, yet bent inward, tightened by fear and greed. Its eyes are hollows of burning ash, and in them we glimpse not malice, but the deep craving to replace us, to carry our skin while hollowing what lies within. The hut quakes above, its beams groaning in rhythm with this shadow's steps, as though it too recognizes the weight of the encounter. The cat crouches low, tail lashing, yet it does not spring. Its task has never been to fight for us, but to remind us that some battles are endured, not evaded. Baba Yaga stands at the chamber's edge, her pestle planted into the ashen floor like a blackened tree trunk. Her teeth glint as she watches, her smile unraidable. Do not destroy, she rasps. Do not flee. Bear. The shadow lifts its hand, fingers reaching for our throat. Its touch is cold, not like ice, but like the absence of fire, a void pressing into flesh. It leans closer, and we feel the pull of its breath, a hollow suction, drawing out strength, memory, desire. In its grasp, we sense the weight of everything denied, every falter unspoken. To resist it with rage is to feed it. To resist it with fear is to become it. The lesson hides in the balance. We let the shadow's hand linger, meeting its gaze with steadiness. The ash in its eyes burns hotter, flaring like coals fanned by wind. Our own chest tightens, our breath shudders, but we do not pull away. Instead, we whisper into the silence. You are mine, and I am yours. I will not banish you. I will not let you reign. The words vibrate through the chamber, through the veins of glowing coal beneath. The figure trembles, its grip slackens, then tightens again. Torn between clinging and dissolving, we press further. You are my shadow, not my master. You walk with me, but you do not lead. For a moment, its burning sockets widen, as if startled. Its body fractures, cracks opening along its arms, its chest, its face. From those fractures pours not blood nor smoke, but sparks bright, fleeting, like stars falling. The sparks scatter into the chamber, settling on bones, on ash, on rafters, until the entire hall glitters faintly. The shadow shudders once more, then collapses inward, folding into itself until it becomes nothing but a small coal glowing weakly at our feet. The cat pads forward, touches it with one paw, and the coal extinguishes with a faint sigh. The air clears, the heat eases, and silence deepens. Baba Yaga steps forward. Her figure shrinks, not small, but more human-shaped now. Her hunched frame crackling as joints settle. Her iron teeth glimmer faintly in the dim. Her eyes no longer ablaze, but heavy with scrutiny. She lifts her pestle, points its end toward the faint ashes left by the coal, and murmurs, "The house has seen you face yourself. Few live through that sight. Yet remember, shadows do not die. They only learn their place." The chamber walls stir, bones crumbling into dust, rafters straightening with groans. The furnace heart reshapes, as though the hut itself were sighing in relief. Where the coal had lain, the ground splits open, revealing a stair of charred stone spiraling downward. The veins of red light snake along its edges, casting a path deeper still. From below rises a draught of cool air, carrying the scent of moss, of still water, of night unbroken by flame. The cat descends first, tail high, its paws silent against the stone. Baba Yaga lingers, leaning on her pestle, her gaze piercing us with the weight of centuries. "The house has teeth," she says softly, "but it also has silence. Beneath fire lies stillness. Beneath hunger lies rest. You have crossed the jaws. Now you must enter the lungs." Her words linger as she steps back, merging with the smoke, her form dissolving until only the faint gleam of her teeth remains, then fades. The hut tilts once more, pressing us toward the opening. The spiral waits, patient yet insistent. Each step promises not fire, not ash, but something quieter, something that has watched all along. We place a foot upon the stair. The stone is cool, solid, humming faintly as though alive. The descent draws us, slow and steady, deeper into the hut's secret body. Above, the chamber of bones fades, swallowed by darkness. Below, the air grows thicker, damp, filled with the echo of breaths too ancient to belong to one being alone. The cat's glow flickers faintly in the dark ahead, steady as a lantern. The spiral bends further, and as we descend, the sound of water surfaces, a ripple, a drip, a long sigh, the hush of lungs waiting to speak. The spiral unwinds, and the sound of water grows stronger until it fills the lungs with its rhythm, a steady inhale and exhale, as though the hut itself breathes through hidden pulls. The air thickens with damp coolness, moss-sweet and stone-heavy, carrying the faint taste of iron, as though the cavern's heart still bleeds. Our feet press into steps slick with condensation, each stone thrumming with a pulse slow and ancient. The cat slips ahead, its fur dampened by mist, its glow smudged by droplets. At last the stair ends in a cavern vast and hollow, shaped not by hand but by patient dripping, slow as centuries. The ceiling is unseen, lost in shadow, but the walls gleam with rivulets of water coursing downward, feeding a black pool at the centre. The pool is motionless, its surface flawless, so dark it seems less like water and more like a mirror of absence. Around its edges grow reeds and pale fungi that emit a dim silver light, painting the chamber in hushed twilight. From the pool rises Baba Yaga, not walking, not rowing her mortar, but rising as though water itself yields her body upward. She is taller than before, her limbs dripping with strands of moss, her hair plastered in wet ropes that shine like midnight. Her teeth flash iron bright when she speaks, but her voice is softened by echo rippling like waves against stone. "The hut breathes here," she says, "in water kept still, in silence deeper than bone. It inhales what the fire burns away, exhales what the roots cannot hold. If you would learn its lust secrets, you must learn to drown without dying, to breathe where breath is not welcome." The cat pads to the pool's edge, its whiskers trembling with the mist. its amber eyes turned toward us, then downward to the black surface. The message is clear. The test is to enter. Yet the pool holds more than water. Its surface quivers faintly, and shapes form upon it. Faces we recognize, voices we thought gone. They beckon softly, not cruel, but compelling, inviting surrender. Their whispers curl through the cavern, promises of rest, of release, of sinking into endless dark where struggle is forgotten. We step forward, the chill radiating into the marrow before we even touch. Kneeling, we place a hand upon the surface. It is not liquid but silk. Pulling gently, urging deeper, we draw breath, hold it, and step inside. The water embraces at once, cold yet not hostile, closing over head and chest until silence swallows sound. Beneath the surface, vision sharpens strangely. The pool expands into a vast underworld filled not with fish or roots, but with memory flowing like currents. Shadows drift past, villagers leaving offerings at the fence of skulls, wanderers trembling at the turning hut, supplicants begging for Baba Yaga's aid. Their movements are slowed, dreamlike, replaying their moments again and again. We feel the weight of each life as though it presses upon the chest. The water whispers, surrender, and be carried forever among them. Our lungs burn. Instinct claws upward, demanding air. The cat swims beside us, impossibly dry, its eyes unwavering, urging stillness. Baba Yaga's voice echoes faintly even here, a vibration rather than sound. Do not fight. Do not flee. Become water. We loosen our grip on breath. The fire in our chest flares, then dissolves. The pain shifts into something else. Not air, but a deeper rhythm. A circulation beyond lungs. We are not drowning. We are joining. The pool accepts. And in its stillness we begin to breathe water, as though it were night itself. Thick yet nourishing. The faces surrounding us no longer beckon, but bow their heads, fading into the current. From the depths rises a light, faint at first, then stronger. It is not flame, not silver, but a pale green glow that pulses like a heart. Drawn downward, we follow, each stroke effortless, as if carried. At the bottom of the pool lies a stone, smooth and round, inscribed with lines that curl like roots, wings and flames all interwoven. It is the mark of the hut, the symbol binding all chambers together. The secret lies not in the stone, but in its reflection upon us. When we touch it, the pool shudders. The water trembles with a vast inhalation, as though the hut itself had drawn breath through us. The stone melts into light, flooding upward, filling our body with its pulse. For a moment we feel both hut and self-legs scraping soil, timbers groaning, skulls glowing, mortar circling. The hut is no prison, no beast, but a vessel of balance, hunger and mercy, fear and rest, fire and water. We break the surface gasping, but the gasp carries no desperation, only wonder. The pool is calm again, silent, unbroken. The cat stands at the edge, its fur dry, its gaze softer. Baba Yaga emerges once more, her form smaller now, her eyes shadowed with something like approval. Her teeth gleam faintly as she speaks. You have breathed in silence. You have learned the lungs of the house. But still it waits for your final measure. You have walked through memory, through hunger, through fear, through fire and water. Now you must walk through choice again, and choice is the sharpest bone. The pool stirs, and behind her, a new passage opens, carved from dripping stone. Its air is colder still, laced with the smell of iron and earth. The cat moves toward it, its tail sweeping low, slow as a pendulum. Baba Yaga watches, her gaze unreadable. But in its depths glimmers the faintest spark of anticipation. The hut leans above, its great legs bending, its walls creaking as though preparing for its last revelation. The passage waits, breathing shadows, carrying us toward the marrow of its secret. The stone passage draws us downward, its walls damp with condensation, the air tight as though compressed by centuries. Each breath tastes faintly of rust, and each step echoes with a rhythm that is not ours alone. The heartbeat of the hut, vast and unyielding, guiding us deeper into its marrow. The cat threads ahead, tail raised, its paws leaving no mark upon the slick stone. Behind, the pool's hush recedes, replaced by the scrape of wood against soil above, the restless shifting of legs that seem to sense what is unfolding within. The corridor opens at last into a chamber bare of ornament, round and hollow as a skull's dome. Here the air is stiller than any place before, so still it feels as if even sound fears to enter. The ground is packed earth, dark and dry, cracked in places as though it thirsts. In the centre stands not fire, nor water, nor root, but a single chair of bone, its surface polished smooth by touch, its form simple yet unsettling, neither throne nor stool, but something older, meant for judgment. Baba Yaga waits beside it. Her body is diminished in size, yet sharpened in presence, hunched but unbreakable. Her hair hangs in iron tangles, her teeth gleam like knives catching dim light. She leans upon her pestle as if it were a sceptre, her mortar squatting beside her like a faithful beast. Her gaze holds us, steady as stone, and for the first time her voice is neither command nor riddle, but something quieter, a gravity worn down by countless ages. "This is the marrow," she murmurs. Here the hut asks its sharpest question. All who pass must choose not for gain, not for glory, but for truth. The house keeps all choices, weaving them into its ribs. Some strengthen it, some crack it, but all endure. Sit, and the marrow will show you what cannot be hidden. The cat pads to the chair, curling at its base, eyes steady, waiting. We approach, every step heavy with the pull of inevitability. The chair hums faintly, as though alive. When we lower ourselves onto it, the earth beneath shudders, and the chamber darkens. The walls dissolve, leaving only vast emptiness, stretching outward in all directions. In that emptiness appear two paths, carved of light. One glows gold, lined with warmth, its air scented with bread, milk and hearth-fire. It shows villages thriving, fields abundant, lives safe and steady, yet woven within is a quiet hollowness, a lack of depth, a silence where questions never rise. The other path glows silver, colder, edged with storms and shadows. It shows struggle, hunger, wandering feet, choices that wound as often as they heal. Yet within it glimmers a pulse fierce and true, a fire that births transformation. The marrow speaks not in Baba Yaga's voice, but in our own, amplified and stripped bare. Which do you choose? Safety without truth, or truth without safety? The weight of the question sinks deep. The golden path tempts with ease, the silver with honesty. The hut does not offer both. To choose is to shape not only our own path, but the hut's memory itself. For each decision feeds its living body. The cat's gaze flickers, unblinking, as though reminding us that to remain silent is also a choice. And silence too has consequence. We sit long within the stillness, the marrow pressing on ribs and heart, until the answer rises, not from logic, but from bone itself. We extend a hand toward the silver path, accepting its storm, its cost, its uncompromised truth. The chamber trembles, the golden path fades, dissolving like smoke in wind. The silver sharpens, its light piercing, searing the eyes, then folding inward until it burns upon the chest like a brand. The choice is made. The emptiness collapses back into chamber. The walls reform, the earth steadies. Beneath us, the bone chair creaks as though satisfied. Baba Yaga steps closer, her iron teeth flashing in the half-light, her gaze unblinking. She studies us as though weighing, then nods once. Her voice rasps. The marrow accepts. You have fed the hut not with longing, not with fear, not with hunger, but with choice. And choice, once given, cannot be recalled. The earth splits open before the chair. A new passage forms, not of stone or root, but of woven shadow, spiraling downward. Cold air breathes from it, carrying scents of pine, snow, and smoke. The cat rises, tail twitching, and steps toward the descent, pausing only long enough to glance back. Baba Yaga lifts her pestle, strikes it once against the ground, and the sound rings like bone upon bone, sealing the chamber behind. "The house has taken your marrow," she says, her voice low as a burial hymn. "Now it will show you its heart." The passage beckons, trembling faintly as though alive, and the hut leans above, its massive frame groaning, eager for the step that will carry us closer to the secret it has guarded longer than memory. The shadow-woven passage folds us inward, each step muffled, as though the air itself swallows sound before it can echo. The walls shimmer faintly, shifting like threads of silk, touched by unseen breath. And the cold that rises through them is not the cold of winter, but of something older, the chill of beginnings before fire learned to burn. The cat moves ahead, its body a small flame in the dark, and though its paws strike no sound, each step seems to unravel another coil of silence. At last, the corridor spills us into a chamber vast and strange, unlike any we have seen. The walls are neither root nor stone, but flesh-like wood, smooth and curving, faintly translucent. Through them flow currents of red light, pulsing in rhythm, beating slow and steady. It is unmistakable. We stand inside the heart of the hut. The chamber throbs with a living cadence, its sound deep as a drum beneath earth, each pulse shaking dust from the ceiling. At the very center rises Baba Yaga. She is smaller now, her body hunched, her skin wrinkled and veined, her eyes shadowed with weary knowing. The mortar floats near her like a moon held by tether, the pestle in her grip glinting faintly. Her teeth flash iron when she speaks, but her voice is not command, it is weary song, a hymn sung to herself through centuries. You have given the house your longing, your fear, your shadow, your marrow. Still it asks more. This heart has beat for ages, fed by bone and prayer, by terror and offering. Yet no house may live without its keeper. The hut breathes because I breathe. It pulses because I command, but I am no eternal flame. What you see before you is not only my power, it is my burden. Will you bear it, or will you let it die when I die? The heart thrums harder, shaking the ground. The veins glow brighter, and the chamber quivers as though aware of her words. The cat arches its back, fur bristling, yet its eyes remain fixed on us, watching. The hut itself seems to lean closer, listening, waiting. Baba Yaga lifts her pestle and strikes it against the ground. A ripple of light spreads across the chamber, and suddenly the heart reveals its faces. Within its pulsing walls appear images, villagers kneeling in thanks when saved from famine, wanderers collapsing in despair when denied, children whispering stories of her in both fear and awe. Every tale, every act, every whisper is sewn into this heart. It beats not only with her strength, but with the world's memory of her. You seek the hut's secret, she rasps. Here it is. The hut is not merely bone and timber. It is story. It is me, and it is those who speak of me. Without tale I wither. Without memory I starve. Yet with each telling, each prayer, each curse, the heart beats on. Her eyes bore into ours, sharp as frost, asking without words whether we will carry her forward, whether we will weave her into us. The test is not of courage, not of endurance, but of devotion to accept that to know her is to bind her story into our own veins, never to walk free of it again. We step closer to the heart. Its pulses thunder now, shaking our ribs, rattling teeth. The surface gleams wet, alive. We press a hand to it. At once the rhythm floods into us, searing, overwhelming. It beats through our chest, forcing breath to match its cadence. We feel the weight of centuries, each life she touched, each secret the hut concealed, each child frightened to obedience by her name. It is too much, vast and heavy, and for a moment we falter. The cat leaps onto our shoulder, its warmth steady, grounding. Baba Yaga watches, her iron smile fierce, daring us to falter, daring us to yield. We whisper through the pain, not denial, not refusal, but acceptance that her story is part of the world, part of us, and we will carry it. Though it burns, the pulse steadies, softens, becomes bearable. The heart quiets, its rhythm and ours now woven together. Baba Yaga lowers her pestle. Her eyes gleam, not softened, but alight with grim satisfaction. You have touched the heart and not broken. You have carried my weight and not drowned. Then know this, the hut's secret is not mine alone. It belongs now to you. Where you walk, it walks. Where you speak, it breathes. Remember, for forgetting is death. The chamber trembles as though in assent. The walls stretch, veins glowing brighter, and a door forms, cut from the pulsing flesh itself. It bleeds light instead of blood, a glow pale and cold. The cat leaps down, moving toward it without hesitation, tail flicking once like a final command. The hut outside groans louder than ever, its legs stamping the earth, its timbers shrieking. It knows what has passed within. It knows the burden has shifted. Baba Yaga steps back, her outline fading into the throbbing walls, leaving only her teeth glimmering before they, too, vanish. The door beats softly like another heart, urging us forward. Beyond it waits not trial but consequence, not hunger but what comes after being fed. We step toward it, the cat ahead, the hut shuddering, the marrow and shadow of choice burning still in our chest. And as we cross, we feel the house bend, waiting to see whether we will wield its secret or be consumed by it. The door of light quivers as we cross its threshold, and for a moment it feels as though we step not into another chamber, but into the breath between heartbeats. Silence expands, vast and unmeasured, pressing against ears and bones. Then the light thins, and the space reveals itself. A great hall, not bound by walls, but by endless horizon. The ground is of pale ash, soft underfoot, and above stretches a sky of perpetual twilight, where neither sun nor moon reigns, but both linger as faint ghosts. The cat walks steadily, leaving no prints in the ash. Ahead the air shimmers, and from the shimmer a figure emerges. It is Baba Yaga, yet not as before. She is tall, unbowed, her hair dark as a raven's wing, her teeth no longer iron but ivory, her face neither withered nor young, but ageless, carved from the essence of dusk. She is the possibility of herself, the shape she might have been, the form she might still become. She regards us with eyes that glint like twin horizons, their depths filled with storms and dawns. Her voice carries softer than before, but sharper in clarity. This is the heart's shadow, she says, the place where choice becomes consequence. Here you do not face me, nor the hut, nor the world. Here you face the echo of yourself within the story. The ash stirs at her words, rising into shapes. Figures form around us. Villagers, wanderers, seekers. They bear torches, bread, flowers, bones. Their faces shift, becoming those of strangers, then familiar, then mirrors of our own. They speak in many tongues, but the meaning is the same. They name us. They call us by Baba Yaga's name. Their voices lift in chant, not in worship, but in recognition, weaving us into the tale they carry. The weight of it presses deep. From each whisper the burden grows heavier, as though the heart we touch now beats in their throats as well. We feel ourselves pulled, stretched between selves, the one who entered the hut trembling, and the one who stands here now, woven into a myth greater than bone. The cat circles our feet, brushing against us. Answering, Baba Yaga steps closer, her ageless face unreadable. "This is the cost," she murmurs. "To know me is to become me. In part, the hut does not let go. It claims, "You have fed it with marrow and shadow, with silence and choice. Now it feeds on you. Will you resist and fracture, or will you accept and carry the tale further than I can?" The twilight sky quivers. Above, stars blink awake, falling slowly like embers into the ash below. Where they touch, faces bloom again, each repeating the same truth, that stories are living hearts, and once touched, they cannot be severed. We realize then that the hut's secret is not merely its hunger, its fire, its marrow. It is the weaving of self into legend, the binding of flesh and breath to myth until the line blurs and vanishes. Our chest aches with the burden, yet we do not turn away. We let the names settle, let the whispers pierce. In their rhythm, we hear something else. Choice becoming legacy, fear turning to remembrance. It is unbearable and yet serene, heavy yet clarifying, as though the ash itself steadies us. Baba Yaga watches, her gaze sharp as frost. For a moment her form flickers. The ageless woman becomes again the crooked hag with iron teeth, then the towering spectre of bone, then once more herself. Each shape is true, each a face she has worn, and each is offered to us as mirror. She leans on her pestle, not for need, but for ritual, and her words fall like stones into still water. You are no longer guest, you are witness, you are kin to the house. Speak carefully, for the house remembers every syllable. The cat lifts its head, ears twitching. In the distance a sound rises, the faint creak of timbers, the stamp of colossal legs. The hut is coming, not as a place, but as a being. It emerges on the horizon, striding through twilight ash, its chicken legs gouging deep furrows, its skull lamps burning with pale fire. It walks toward us, not as dwelling, but as judge, carrying in its body every choice we have made. The ash trembles beneath its steps. Baba Yaga's form dissolves into mist, leaving only her laughter, iron bright, echoing in the hollow sky. The cat leaps onto our shoulder, its claws biting gently, its weight steady. The hut looms nearer, tilting, towering, its eyes of fire fixed upon us. It halts before us, legs bending, timbers groaning. The doorway yawns open, black and endless, its edges glowing faintly like hot iron. A wind spills from within, cold and filled with scents of bone, root and storm. The cat presses close to our ear, purring low as though to remind us that stepping forward is not death, but passage. The hut waits, its heart and marrow bound to ours now, its secret entwined with our flesh. The choice we made echoes still, but beyond this threshold lies not trial, not initiation, but culmination, the reckoning of what it means to carry Baba Yaga's story as our own. The ash swirls, the twilight deepens, and the doorway breathes like a lung awaiting its final exhale. The hut's doorway breathes, and stepping closer feels like leaning into the chest of a giant, each inhale pulling us toward its hollow lungs. The air that spills forth is cold yet restless, filled with whispers that slither like smoke. The cat on our shoulder presses its weight firmly, its purr vibrating against our ear, reminding us that stillness does not mean safety but readiness. We cross the threshold, and the world folds. No chamber greets us this time. No fire, no marrow, no pool. Instead, we stand in a vast forest beneath a sky split by lightning. Pines bend and sway, though no wind moves them, their needles whispering in unison. The earth is sodden with black water, reflecting flashes of storm, and in every reflection Baba Yaga's face appears, hag, maiden, spectre, all at once, each gazing upward as though waiting for judgment. From the forest's edge comes the creak of wheels. A carriage of bone rolls forth, drawn by wolves with eyes like embers. Upon it sits Baba Yaga herself, yet larger, sharper, crowned with a circlet of roots that twist like thorns. She carries no pestle but a staff of bone, tall as a tree, and when she strikes it against the ground the storm above stills. Thunder pauses, Lightning hangs suspended, and time itself seems to bow. Her voice carries like rolling thunder, low and vast. You touched the heart, you bore the marrow. Yet the hut does not yield so easily. One last question it keeps, and it is the cruelest of all. Having bound yourself to the tail, will you wield it, or will you be wielded? The wolves growl, their breath steaming like frost, their eyes locked on us. The cat leaps down, landing in the wet earth, its fur bristling though its gaze remains steady. It looks not at the wolves, but at us, as if to ask, what shape shall the story take? The sky trembles, and from the storm descend figures formed of cloud and light. They are the voices of the past, wanderers who entered the hut, villagers who begged for mercy, children who whispered of her at night. They circle us countless, their eyes pale lanterns, their mouths open in unison, and from them pours a question not of words but of weight. Will you become the next keeper of the hut, or will you break from it and scatter its secret like ashes? Baba Yaga's eyes blaze, not with fury but with hunger. She leans forward, her staff sinking into the earth, her voice rasping through storm and silence alike. Choose, for the hut cannot endure half-fed. It will carry you in its ribs, or it will consume you whole. No one leaves without shaping it. Singer. The forest leans closer, trunks bowing inward. The ground swells beneath our feet, pulsing with the same rhythm as the heart we touched. It presses insistently, demanding answer. The wolves bare their teeth, yet they do not leap. They wait. The cat hisses softly, not at them, but at the weight pressing in. Within us churns all we have seen, the skull fence glowing against night, the marrow's cruel question, the pool of stillness, the ash that called us by her name. Each fragment presses against the chest, straining toward release. We realize then that to wield the tale is to speak it, to let it live beyond silence. To be wielded by it is to remain silent, to let it consume without release. We open our mouth, and though the storm stills, though wolves crouch ready, though Baba Yaga herself leans forward, it is not a shout that emerges, but a whisper. I will speak. The moment stretches. The forest halts, the storm pauses. Even the reflections in black water hold their breath. Baba Yaga tilts her head, her eyes narrowing, her iron grin widening. For the first time her laughter rises. Not mocking, not cruel, but resonant, like a bell tolling across centuries. Then you are no guest, she declares. You are no prey. You are a voice. The storm collapses, folding inward, and we are pulled with it, through light, through shadow, through the echo of her laughter. When the world steadies, we find ourselves once more within the hut, though not as it was. Its walls stretch infinitely, a hall of mirrors, each reflection a story told of Baba Yaga. Some cast her as saviour, some as monster, some as crone, some as goddess. All are true, none are complete. The cat leaps back to our shoulder, its purr deep, almost triumphant. The hut shudders, its legs stamping once as though in approval. Baba Yaga is gone, or perhaps everywhere, diffused into mirrors, into timber, into marrow, yet her presence lingers, sharp as frost on air. The mirrors ripple. In one we see ourselves, not as wanderer but as keeper, holding her stuff of bone. In another we walk away, scattering ash into wind, leaving the hut to slumber. Each vision waits, patient, neither forcing nor fleeing. The house does not choose. It waits for us to do so. The cat presses against our neck, its warmth a tether. The hut creaks, its doorway opening again, spilling a wind that smells of pine and smoke. Beyond, something shifts, not trial, not heart, but the shape of the world waiting to be remade by the story we carry. The doorway exhales, and as we step through, the hall of mirrors dissolves behind us like mist struck by dawn. The hut groans, its timbers bending, its legs stamping as though bracing for the weight of what must come. The air is heavy, thrumming with tension, and the cat on our shoulder presses closer, its fur prickling, its purr turned into a steady hum that feels less like comfort and more like preparation. Outside, the night has deepened into something immeasurable. The skulls on the fence blaze brighter, their hollow sockets casting long beams of pale fire into the darkness. They illuminate a vast clearing, empty save for us, the hut and the endless shadows beyond. Yet those shadows are not still. They shift, ripple, and out of them step forms we recognize, not from life, but from memory. They are the wanderers who came before. Each bears the mark of the hut, some with eyes glowing faintly like coals, others with shadows clinging to their shoulders, others still with silence wound around their throats like chains. Their faces are familiar and strange, countless, and yet singular. They are those who chose, those who faltered, those who never left. They are the living memory of the hut, summoned now as wit. At their center rises Baba Yaga. She is vast, her body shadow and flame, her face shifting through every guise we have seen. Crone, maiden, queen, skeleton, fire. Her pestle is taller than any tree, her mortar wide enough to swallow armies. She plants herself before us, and her laughter cuts the night open like an axe through bark. "You have come to the marrow, to the heart, to the shadow," she declares, her voice shaking the soil. "You have breathed water, carried silence, borne choice, but now the hut asks its final question. Will you carry me into the world, or will you bury me within it?" The words echo, rolling across the clearing. The gathered figures watch, their eyes unblinking, their mouths shut. The skull lights flare higher, as though straining to see. The hut leans forward, its doorway yawning open once more, black as void, its timbers creaking in hunger. The cat leaps from our shoulder, landing at Baba Yaga's feet. It curls there, unafraid, eyes gleaming like molten amber. Its tail flicks once, twice, and the silence deepens. Even the fire in the skulls seems to bow. Wait, we feel the weight of her question press into ribs and spine. To carry her into the world is to speak her tale, to let her live in every tongue and thought, to let her hut walk in us wherever we go. To bury her is to silence the tale, to leave her here in shadow, to let her dissolve into earth and become forgotten bone. Both choices blaze with consequence. Both carve paths that cannot be undone. Baba Yaga leans close, her breath cold and hot all at once, smelling of roots torn from soil, of charred bread, of iron sharpened on stone. Her eyes gleam with hunger and hope alike. "Do not tremble," she whispers, softer now, almost intimate. "The tale is teeth, it bites whether spoken or swallowed, but only you decide if it devours or endures." The clearing waits. The watchers lean nearer. The hut creaks louder, its chicken legs stamping, claws gouging trenches in the soil. The choice rises in us like a tide unstoppable, demanding release. We understand then that this moment is the heart of the hut's secret, that Baba Yaga is not merely a witch who devours, nor a guardian who spares, but a question posed again and again. What do we do with the stories that frighten us? Do we silence them, or do we let them live? Our mouth opens and the breath we take tastes of ash and pine, of storm and marrow. The air shudders as though ready to split. Baba Yaga's shadow looms higher, her form flickering between all her selves. The cat's eyes narrow, its purr resuming, steady as the heartbeat of the house itself. The moment stretches like a bowstring pulled taut. The night holds its breath. The choice hovers, waiting to be spoken, knowing that once uttered it will ripple through hut, forest and tale alike, reshaping all that follows. And the hut bends lower still, its doorway wide, its timbers groaning, its heart thundering, ready to receive the answer that will decide whether it strides forever into the world or collapses into silence. The air quivers with the weight of silence, and when at last the word leaves our lips, it is not a shout, but a thread of sound woven into the breath of the forest. Endure. The syllable drifts outward, faint yet sharp, and the clearing responds at once. The skulls upon the fence flare white-hot, casting beams that cut through the night. The shadows of the countless watchers bow as one, sinking into the soil until only their hollow eyes remain, glowing faintly in reverence. Baba Yaga's form towers above us, swelling, her laughter rolling like thunder across the clearing. It is not cruel, but fierce, triumphant, carrying the weight of storms breaking after drought. She strikes her staff against the earth, and the ground trembles, splitting open with lines of light. The hut's legs stomp, claws gouging deeper, its timbers shrieking as it bends low, pressing its doorway nearer. We feel the beat of its heart once more, not within the chamber but across the world, pulsing through soil, trees, sky. "You have chosen," Baba Yaga proclaims, her voice reverberating in marrow and stone. "You have spoken the word that feeds me. You will carry me, and I will carry you. From this night your breath is my breath. Your steps are my steps. Where you walk, the hut will walk. Where you speak, the tail will thrum." The cat leaps back to our shoulder, its amber gaze steady, as though affirming the bond. The watchers dissolve fully into earth, their whispers lingering like the rustle of leaves, a chorus repeating the word we gave. Endure, endure. The hut shudders violently, then stills. Its doorway no longer gapes with hunger, but glows faintly, like the quiet embers of a hearth. It is no longer a mouth demanding sacrifice, but a passage, open and waiting. Baba Yaga lowers herself, her staff dimming, her face flickering through her many guises, until it settles once more into the familiar hag hunched, sharp-toothed, ancient as roots. Yet her eyes gleam brighter than before, not with menace, but with something rarer, recognition. She steps close, her breath cold against our cheek, her words rough but steady. "Do not think this is mercy. Do not think it is burden alone. It is both. To carry me is to be feared, to be misunderstood, to be sought, to be shunned, but it is also to be remembered. Long after bone has crumbled, you have tied yourself to the marrow of story. You will not fade." Her hand, knotted and veined, brushes our chest once, leaving a mark we cannot see but feel. A weight, a pulse, a tether. Then she withdraws, climbing into her mortar, her pestle guiding her into the sky. She does not vanish, but hovers above, her silhouette etched against stars, watching, waiting. The hut bends lower still, inviting us within. The cat leaps ahead, tail high, vanishing through the glowing doorway. We follow, and as we cross the threshold, the clearing falls away. The forest dissolves, and we find ourselves inside a chamber we have never seen before. It is vast, round, its walls lined with shelves carved from bone. Upon them rest countless objects, talismans, feathers, shards of mirrors, broken blades, bowls filled with ashes, strands of hair. Each radiates faint light, pulsing gently. As if alive, we recognize them, not as treasures, but as fragments of stories, offerings left behind by those who came before. Every object is a memory, every memory a thread. This is the hut's true hoard, not gold, not jewels, but stories kept alive through fear and reverence. At the center of the chamber lies a single empty shelf, carved smooth, waiting. The cat sits upon it, tail curling, its gaze locked on us. The message is clear. Something of ours must be placed here, something to bind our tale to those who came before. Our hand moves to the chest where Baba Yaga's touch lingers, and we understand the offering is not an object of flesh or stone, but the word we spoke, the choice we made. Endure. We breathe it again, softly, and the sound crystallizes into form, a shard of light that settles onto the empty shelf. It glows faintly, humming, then steadies, joining the chorus of other fragments. The hut sighs. Its timbers relax, Its floor eases. Its heartbeat slows to a steady rhythm. For the first time it feels less like a beast and more like a home. The chamber brightens slightly, bathed in a glow that feels not threatening but watchful, as though the hut itself has accepted us as part of its body. The cat leaps down, brushing against our leg before slipping toward another door that has formed in the wall. Its frame glows dimly, carved with lines that spiral like roots, wings, and flames intertwined. Beyond it wafts a breeze that smells of dawn, of earth warming, of smoke thinning, of stories waiting to be told. The hut creaks once more, settling upon its legs, its vast body quiet. Baba Yaga's laughter echoes faintly from beyond the walls, softer now, distant but enduring, like thunder retreating into hills. The cat pauses at the door, waiting for us to step through, its tail flicking once, twice. The shelves hum, the word endures, the hut breathes, and ahead, beyond the doorway, waits the world, ready or not, for the story that now beats within us. The doorway opens like a slow breath, and we step through into dawn. The air is cool, carrying the scent of dew upon grass, of pine heavy with mist, of soil awakened after long night. The hut lingers behind us, its timbers groaning softly, its legs folding to rest upon the earth. For the first time it does not loom as predator, nor creak as prison, but waits in silence, a vast presence settled like a sentinel among the trees. The clearing stretches wide, and beyond it the forest spreads in endless green, each bough glittering with morning light. Birds stir in the branches, hesitant yet unafraid, their songs faint but steady. The skulls upon the fence glow no longer with fire, but with the pale shimmer of morning frost, their sockets empty, their watchfulness softened. The hut's hunger has eased, and the world feels less threatened, as though some balance has shifted. The cat trots ahead across the grass, pausing to glance back, its amber eyes brighter than ever. Its tail curls high, confident, as though leading us not into danger, but into recognition. With each step, the forest parts, revealing paths that twist and wander, none marked, none clear, each is possibility. Baba Yaga's voice follows, though her body does not appear. It ripples through air and leaf, through soil and stain, carrying with it the weight of centuries. You have chosen endurance. You have bound yourself to the marrow of story. But know this, the tale does not end in my house. It walks with you. Where you speak of me, the hut breathes. Where you are silent, the hut waits. My lair is no longer hidden in the thicket. It is hidden in your chest. Her words linger, curling like smoke in morning light. Neither blessing nor curse, but truth. The forest listens, its branches swaying with a breeze that has no source. The cat sits at the fork of the paths, its gaze unyielding, as if to remind us that direction now rests with us alone. The ground beneath our feet feels different, infused with the pulse we carried from the heart. With every step, the earth hums faintly, as though listening, as though remembering. We understand then that the hut's secret is not merely the horror of its teeth, nor the trials of its marrow, but this: it plants itself within those who endure it, transforming them into bearers of its myth. We are no longer only wanderer, we are vessel. The morning grows brighter, yet within the light there is shadow. Faces flicker in the trunks of trees, children whispering her name, mothers warning at hearth, wanderers tracing paths through wild. Their voices are faint, their echoes uncertain, but they are drawn to us, sensing the hut's weight within. Some faces look in awe, others in fear, others in weary reverence. All a part of the story now bound to us. The cat rises, padding down a narrow path lined with birches, their pale bark etched with scars like old runes. We follow, each step sinking deeper into recognition that the forest is no longer just forest, but a mirror of tale and self entwined. The air grows thick with the hum of unseen wings, and far off a stream glimmers silver, its flow whispering secrets older than language. And in the stillness between those whispers, Baba Yaga's laughter threads again, distant, softened, almost playful. It does not mock. It reminds. She has not vanished, nor has she been conquered. She lingers, woven into marrow and path alike. The hut behind us creaks, adjusting its stance, its doorway closed, yet breathing faintly. It does not demand, does not threaten, but waits, patient, eternal, ready for when the story must be told again. The cat pauses at a bend where light spills golden, its fur glowing in the sun. It turns its head, eyes narrowing, as if asking whether we have yet understood that we do not leave Baba Yaga behind, nor her dark lair, nor the secrets hidden in her hut. They leave with us, carried in our breath, in our shadow, in the stories we will tell, and the silences we will keep. The forest deepens, and ahead the path bends unseen, drawing us further into morning. The cat's tail flicks once, its body slipping into light. The hut sighs behind, and Baba Yaga's voice, almost tender now, follows upon the breeze. Endure. The word settles into us, steady as heartbeat, ready to guide us into whatever world waits beyond the trees. The birch path narrows, its pale trunks drawing close as though conspiring, their bark peels in curling strips, whispering faintly in the breeze, and their shadows cross the ground like runes. The cat walks ahead, weaving through shafts of light, its fur gilded by the sun. Each flick of its tail feels like a signal, urging us deeper, though to what end remains veiled. The air is calm, yet beneath its quiet hums a strange awareness, a sense that every leaf, every root, every ripple of wind now listens to us. We carry the hut within, and the world feels it. Birds fall silent when we pass. The soil shifts, loosening as though softened by the weight of our steps. It is not fear we inspire, but recognition, as if the land itself knows we are no longer merely traveller, but bearer of a tale. From the thicket ahead rises a sound low and mournful, like a distant horn. The birches part to reveal a meadow where the grass grows high, silver-tipped, swaying without wind. In the midst of it stands a circle of stones, weathered and leaning, etched with lines eroded by centuries. Their shapes are rough, their placement imperfect, yet the hush around them declares reverence. The cat slips into the circle, sits at its centre, and fixes us with its amber eyes. The meadow stills, even the grass halts. A presence thickens in the air, and from the stones themselves voices stir, ancient, echoing, not words, but the memory of words. They tell of wanderers who came here long before us, who faced the hut and returned changed, or not at all. The stones hold those echoes, guarding them like embers that refuse to fade. Then upon the air Baba Yaga's voice rises again, distant yet clear, woven through stone and soil alike. Do you see? My lair does not end where the fence of skulls stands. My house is not bound by timber or claw. It lives wherever stories root. These stones are mine, as surely as the hut is mine. They whisper my name, though no flame lights their crowns. The words settle heavy, yet within them lies revelation. The hut's secret stretches far beyond its shifting walls. Its marrow beats in the earth itself, wherever fear and reverence plant memory. The lair we thought hidden is not confined. It has grown like roots spreading unseen, tangled in soil, river, sky. The cat purrs, its sound resonant against the silence. The stones hum faintly in response, vibrating with an energy that travels up through our souls, through our ribs, into the chest. The word we spoke, endure, echoes again, carried by this place, amplified. Endure, the stones whisper. Endure, the grass sighs. Endure, the soil breathes. In that moment we understand. We are not only the witness of the hut, not only its vessel, we are also its branch, its outgrowth, its continuation in places it has never walked. The burden is immense, But it is also fertile. To carry Baba Yaga is not to be devoured by her. It is to scatter her seeds into the world. Where we go, the Lair goes. Where we speak, the secret roots deeper. A hush follows, long and patient. The cat rises, steps out of the stone circle, and glances back. Its eyes gleam with expectation, as though asking whether we will shrink from this truth or step further into it. The meadow sways again, wind returning, sunlight shifting. We leave the stones behind, but their hum lingers in the chest, a low drone that blends with the hut's heartbeat already stitched into us. The birch path resumes, opening into forest darker and denser than before. Branches knit overhead, blotting out sun, filling the air with resin and shadow. Ahead glows a faint light, not daylight, but firelight, flickering warm and uneven. The cat bounds ahead, its silhouette vanishing into the glow. As we follow, the forest bends inward, the trees crowding close, their bark rough with watching faces. Their eyes are knots, their mouths splits in the wood, their expressions unreadable. The firelight grows stronger, painting the trunks in shifting gold, until at last the path opens into another clearing. There stands the hut once more, legs folded, smoke rising thin from its crooked chimney. Yet it is different now. Its fence of skulls burns not with fire but with steady silver glow, calm as moonlight. Its doorway is closed, but its timbers breathe with a gentler rhythm, no longer snarling beast, but slumbering guardian. But Baba Yaga herself is nowhere to be seen, yet her presence weighs heavy, thicker here than anywhere. The air tastes of ash and bread, of iron and pine. The hut creaks faintly, tilting its roof toward us, as if in recognition. The cat sits before the fence, tail wrapped neatly around its paws, and for a moment the world stills entirely. The meadow's whisper fades, the forest holds its breath, the hut waits. The secret is no longer hidden, it has been handed to us. The question now is what we will do with it. The silver glow brightens, and the hut shifts upon its legs, preparing for what comes next. The hut leans forward, its roof casting a shadow that stretches across the clearing, swallowing even the glow of the skulls for a heartbeat. The air thickens with the scent of smoke, and old herbs, resin and ash, intermingling until the breath itself feels like part of an incantation. The cat waits unmoving, golden eyes locked upon the doorway as if sensing the moment of unveiling is close. The timbers groan, deep and resonant, and the doorway creaks ajar. From the crack spills not darkness, but a slow radiance the colour of embers buried deep in coals. It does not blaze. It seeps, gentle and inexorable, casting long beams that shimmer across the grass. Within the hut, shadows stir, forming shapes that shift like branches swaying in unseen wind. Then Baba Yaga's voice spills forth, softer than ever before, carried not by wrath, but by something older, quieter, more enduring. You have walked far, carrying marrow and memory. Now you return, not as prey, not as supplicant, but as bearer. Tell me, what have you learned of my lair? Do you yet think it confined to walls and fences, to skulls and smoke, or have you seen that it breathes where you breathe? The cat purrs low, the stones within the meadow hum faintly in the chest once more, and even the birches rustle far behind, echoing the same truth. The lair is not place, but presence, not house, but heritage, not secret locked away, but secret sown wherever tale takes root. The door opens wider. Inside, the walls shimmer with carvings that move like living bark, patterns of bones, of trees, of rivers twisting into faces, faces twisting into flame. It is not house, but chronicle, a breathing archive of every encounter, every fear, every whisper ever shaped by her name. For the first time, the hut does not appear as prison or threat, but as vessel, immense and enduring. And Baba Yaga steps forward. Her frame is bent, her hair wild silver tangled with pine needles, her eyes deep hollows filled with shifting flame. Yet there is no malice in her gaze, only recognition, a reflection of what she has planted. She leans upon her pestle, each step shaking the boards, though she seems frail. Around her feet, shadows coil like roots, binding earth to sky. "You sought to uncover my secret," she murmurs, her voice threaded with centuries of hunger and sorrow alike. "But secrets cannot be uncovered. They can only be carried. My hut conceals because concealment is what nourishes it. It hides not to keep you out, but to teach you the weight of entering. Those who endure, as you have, find the marrow was never mine alone to guard. It is yours now too." The hut groans in assent, its timbers bowing inward as though kneeling. The skulls glow brighter, their sockets filled not with fire but with a soft white gleam, like lanterns guiding the lost. The clearing hums with life unseen, roots twitching beneath soil, air thick with invisible wings, stars fading into view above though dawn has not yet left. Baba Yaga lifts her hand, long fingers crooked like branches. She does not touch us, yet her gesture weighs heavy, as if she marks us with an unseen brand. "You are not mine, child of marrow and endurance. You are not servant nor kin, but you are witness, and that is heavier than either. Carry me and you carry wilderness. Carry me and you carry flame." The cat bows its head, its purr deepening into a resonance that spreads through the clearing, a vibration felt more than heard. The hut shifts again, restless, impatient, as though sensing a crossing yet to be made. Baba Yaga steps back into the glow of her house, her silhouette merging with shadow and flame alike. "One path remains," she says, her voice now almost fading. "The path where burden becomes legacy. Walk it, if you endure still." The door creaks closed, the light dimming until only the silver glow of skulls remains. The clearing falls into silence, yet it is not the silence of absence, but of waiting. The hut breathes. The cat watches. The forest bends close. All lean upon the edge of what is yet to come. The air chills, and the sky darkens, though the sun has not fallen. Stars glimmer faint, scattered like seeds, and the earth itself seems to hold its breath. The cat rises, padding toward the hut's fence, its tail curling as though beckoning once more. The hut shifts upon its legs, bending low, its doorway now a mouth that waits not with threat but with solemn invitation. We stand before it again, marrow thrumming within, the weight of the story now undeniable. Baba Yaga's voice lingers in the chest like an ember. The path where burden becomes legacy. The fence glows brighter. The door shudders. The cat waits at the threshold. The secret is ready to be fully revealed. The hut lowers itself until its door rests at the level of our chest, its timbers creaking as though straining against their own age. The fence glows white and still, no longer grim or cruel, but like guardians who have fulfilled their watch. The cat sits just beyond the threshold, a flickering silhouette against the darkened interior, waiting with patient certainty. Its golden eyes hold neither command nor warning, only trust that we know what must be done. The marrow's pulse inside us swells, rising to fill every vein and thought. It is no longer burden, no longer alien. It beats as our own heart beats, steady and certain, and with it comes the realization. The hut was never only Baba Yaga's. It belongs to the world, to the story, to every soul who has endured its gaze. It belongs now to us. As vessel and witness both, we step forward, the doorway sighs open, not devouring, not imprisoning, but welcoming with solemnity. Within, the chamber glows with dim light that shifts like flame upon water. Its walls are alive with carvings that move when unlooked at. Trees bending, rivers twisting, faces forming from grain and shadow. They whisper without sound, and their whispers fill the chest with knowledge too vast to carry in words. This is the secret we sought, not treasure, nor spell, but continuity. The hut holds every tale, every breath that has passed through its door. It is archive, womb, tomb, and seed, all at once. At its centre rests Baba Yaga, seated upon her mortar as though it were throne, her pestle leaning beside her, her cloak of night draped over her stooped shoulders. Her eyes burn steady, not cruel, not gentle, but eternal. She gazes upon us and does not smile, yet the air bends with something like approval. "You have endured," she says. Her voice no louder than a breath, yet it shakes the boards beneath. "You have seen beyond the teeth of my house. You have walked the narrow path, and now you stand not as trespasser, not as captive, but as keeper." She lifts one hand, the skin like bark, the fingers crooked as roots. In her palm lies nothing, yet the air bends above it, shimmering as though space itself has weight. The Lair's secret is no secret. It is survival. It is story. It is hunger that births endurance, and endurance that births memory. My hut is only the vessel. You are the bearer. When you step beyond these woods, the Lair walks with you. When you speak of me, the fire burns. When you fall silent, the embers sleep but do not die. This is the gift and the burden. The cat leaps into her lap, curling there with a low purr. She strokes its fur absent-mindedly, her eyes never leaving ours. "Go now. The forest will not hold you. But remember, wherever you walk, I walk. Wherever your marrow endures, so does my lair." You sought to know what secrets it conceals. The answer is simple. It conceals you, as you now conceal it. Her words fade into silence. The light dims until only the faint glow of the fence outside seeps through the cracks. The cat rises again, slipping past us toward the threshold. When we follow, the doorway closes behind without sound, and the hut grows still. In the clearing, dawn returns. The skulls no longer burn nor glow. They rest empty, their work complete. The hut stands calm, legs folded, its presence vast but no longer oppressive. It breathes once, a long, heavy sigh, then grows still. The cat sits at the edge of the clearing, tail curling, waiting for us to step back into the wider world. We walk, and the forest parts with ease, no longer pressing, no longer testing. Birds sing, rivers murmur, branches sway in rhythm with our breath. Yet everything feels changed. Every sound echoes with her presence. Every shadow hums with her marrow. We carry it now, not as curse, not as conquest, but as inheritance. When at last we emerge from the woods, the sky is vast, pale with morning light. Villagers wait in the distance, their rooftops catching sun, their hearth smoke rising gentle and sure. People will gather, and they will whisper her name, half in fear, half in reverence. They will tell tales of her hut, of its skulls, of its hunger. They will not know what we know, but in their telling, the hut will stir again, its timbers flexing, its story fed. We pause at the edge of the trees. The cat gazes back once, then vanishes into undergrowth, its golden eyes the last to fade. We remain still, marrow steady within us, carrying the hut as one carries breath, invisible yet constant. The Baba Yaga's voice lingers faint upon the breeze, softer than a whisper, softer than a sigh. Endure, and so we do, carrying with us the dark Lair's secret, not locked within timber walls, but woven now into our very being, where it will rest until the world itself grows silent.